friends! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Xoxo, this is Xoxo Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading that I'm very excited for, we are going to be looking at how your spirit guides see you. Now, I think this is going to be a very important reading because it is so easy, even when we are doing our best, to beat ourselves up and allow our egos to run amok, making us believe things about ourselves that are not even true. And the beautiful thing about our spirit guides is that they are unconditionally loving and they only see us through the eyes of love. So when you are watching this reading today, if you find yourself doubting yourself or feeling like this information doesn't apply to you, I would challenge your ego about that and ask yourself, is that really true, or are you just lying to yourself? Because you are so worthy, so lovable, so deserving of love, and I can't wait to work with your guides today to prove to you guys why. So we have 4 different tarot cards, piles of tarot cards to choose from with a different stone on top. So starting with pile 1, we are going to be using the Tarot of Oneness deck, and I have this rose quartz stone on top. And then for pile 2, we are going to be using the Lord of the Rings Tarot, and I have this Fluorite worry stone on top. And then for pile 3, we are going to be using the Way of the Panda Tarot, and I have this Atlantisite heart on top. And finally, for pile 4, we are going to be using the Naked Heart Tarot, and I have this Apophyllite on top. So before we get into the video, we are going to do something a little exciting. So my newest candle from my candle line with Angelic Magic 888 is finally out, and it is going to be the first of many tarot themed candles in this line, and I'm so excited for it. I actually haven't opened it yet. I thought we could do that together because one of the cool things about this candle specifically and the tarot candles is that each candle is going to come with a mini tarot card. Doesn't mean it'll be the High Priestess card, it's just any tarot card. So I decided that the little mini tarot card, for anyone who stays for this portion of the reading, will be a message for us that I will interpret, but we will also make a wish with this candle. And yeah, if you're interested in this candle or any other candles on Angelic Magic's site, it will all be linked down below, and you can use code Xoxo10 for 10% off. So let's go ahead and do the big reveal. Okay, this is beautiful. I fucking love this. Okay, so our mini tarot card is the World, and obviously it's not easy for me to hold with my hands, but I love this and I am going to interpret that in a moment. But I thought that we could just first of all appreciate the beauty of this queen. There is, I believe, amethyst and moonstone inside, so this can be really great for manifestation or for, you know, just making your altar look nice, for really anything that you want. I mean, but it is High Priestess themed, and it is centered around themes like intuition, wisdom, and psychic gifts. So if you are interested, it will be linked down below. But now let's make a wish. So I ask that you center your intentions, think of your wish, and just center your intentions that this wish be granted, and just direct it straight into the candle. So I will give you a moment to focus on the candle and focus on your wish, and I will do the same. And now I shall do the honors. So if you didn't finish your wish, feel free to pause it. You can always go back, but may mine, your, and all of our wishes come true. I really hope that you guys like this candle. Definitely let me know what other tarot themed candles you are looking for. I have a lot in my mind, but I thought the High Priestess was a great place to start. Now with the World card here being our little mini tarot card, this definitely tells me that we are completing cycles. We are completing cycles, and we deserve to give ourselves a big pat on the back for all of our hard work, everything that we have been doing to reach this point. This is definitely a sign to me that whatever you are focused on, not only will it be coming to a satisfying conclusion soon, but also you can anticipate success and new beginnings to come. I also see this as a sign for anyone who is traveling or planning on traveling soon, that your travels will be safe and that they will be very fun and very enjoyable, and a good reminder to enjoy those travels and not let the stresses of traveling or the stresses of what might be awaiting you back home stop you from enjoying your trip. And also, if you have someone that you care about, and as I'm hearing this, I'm literally hearing International Love in my head by Pitbull, but anyone that loves you and that lives in a different country from you, I feel like this is a sign that they are thinking of you and that they are sending you their love. But that is our little mini tarot card reading. So maybe I'll just leave it right here. But that is where we are going to leave that. If you are interested in the candles, that will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for your love and support. I am so grateful for you guys, and I'm so excited to get into this reading. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It is absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. Just take what resonates. There is no such thing as getting too many compliments or too many loving truths from your guides. So just take what resonates, don't let the rest take from you. Once you've picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have all the timestamps listed below, and I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile one. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the rose quartz stone and the tarot of oneness, this is going to be your reading on how your spirit guides see you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by giving your deck a good shuffle. I have oracle cards laid out as well, and then we are going to get into it. We'll give her a really good shuffle. One thing I have to note is that I'm unusually quiet while I'm shuffling, and typically I'm like talking about something. So interesting. Noted. Okay. Pile one spirit guides specifically. Pile one's guides. How do you see pile one? We have the Magician. We have Judgment, which in this card is Awakening. We have the Moon. Wow, those look like they're literally meant to go hand in hand. How else do you see pile one? Wow, okay, we also have the Sun. Big energies out on the table today. Love to see it. We have I don't know if this is the Queen of Wands or the King of Wands, so I'm just going to look at the deck really quickly, which this is a really, okay, Inspiration is definitely Page. I see a Spirit. Action is a Knight. Oh, you know what? Yeah, so this is the Queen of Wands, because Kings are embodiments. If I'm correct, if I can find one. I don't know, maybe they're messing with me right now. Yeah, okay, yeah, Kings are embodiment. So this is beautiful. I love this already. Okay, let's go ahead and lay out your oracle cards now. So to start, we have Be Still. We have Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, past lives. We have Avenger, desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. We have I Am Blessed. And we have the crown chakra with the theme of transmutation. The trigger statement is, I don't know who I am, and the true statement is, I am. There is no effort required for this shift. Be present and allow every aspect of your being to transform. So let me make sure. Okay, cool. I really love this pile one. This is really beautiful energy. I'm just going to take a sip of water real quick. The number 18 is coming out, has come out multiple times. So you could be the age of 18, or you could be born on January 8th or August 1st, or the 18th of a month could be very significant. 18 seems to be a significant number in general, but this is really cool, especially because you got the Tarot of Oneness deck. That's the deck that you chose. And your guides are really coming through to say that they see you moving into an era that is full of abundance. And I don't just mean like monetary abundance, but abundance in terms of your mentality, in terms of your gratitude. And they also see you as just doing a really great job in terms of letting go of the past, in terms of evolving, and in terms of, I keep hearing like you're going into your thriving era, and I love to hear it. And your guides want you to see that you are very blessed as well. I definitely think one thing that they want you to see is that you are particularly hard on yourself, and unnecessarily so. And you may know that at your core, but it may be hard to stop yourself from, you know, criticizing yourself or beating yourself up. I feel like you hold yourself to really high standards, and you have high expectations of yourself, especially when it comes to your behavior and what you will and won't allow. But I do think that your guides want you to see that a lot of your self-doubt and your self-criticism is not the truth, but it may be rooted especially in experiences from your childhood and adolescence where you were shamed for who you were, or you just weren't treated right. The beautiful thing though is that we have the sun and the moon, and you are both of those things. And I think what's really beautiful is, first of all, it just goes to show that you're embracing more sides of yourself. But also, I really do think that you're starting to awaken to your own inner power, the power that your mindset has, the power that your belief in yourself has. I also think you're realizing just how supported and connected you truly are, and your guides want you to see that that is not a delusion by any means. You are coming into yourself in a way that you were always meant to, and I feel like you are headed into a season that is a lot lighter and a lot brighter, and your guides really, really want you to see that. I actually want to talk about this Be Still card. I think I'm going to read it just from the book itself because I think it's the most helpful. So it's from the Cosmic Reading Cards deck. It's a deck that I very much like. The mind that is still, the whole universe, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders, which is by Lao Tzu. I believe he wrote The Art of War, if you're interested in reading that. But you may be into a mode of peace and love right now. So anyway, be still, breathe. Find that well of tranquility and serenity within you. There are times when life feels chaotic. Circumstances and relationships test and challenge you with conflicting emotions and inner storms. Sometimes your emotions are felt deeply, and you may have moments of outbursts that express pain and inner rage. Feel the emotions and try to understand what has come forth from you. See the origins from which this reaction was born. There will always be triggers, dear one, and storms will pass, but how you react makes all the difference to the severity and the longevity of the storm. Who you are is best seen when you are challenged, pressured, and put to the test. Will you react with rage, spite, and bitterness, or with peace, love, and compassion? If you react with anger and spite, do not be disheartened. Simply see that this is where you are at this time. Be gentle with yourself and go within to explore the deepest recesses of your hidden self. Find the root of why your actions are so. Send this part of you love and compassion, and feel the healing light of love spreading through your entire being. Dear one, you are the love, peace, tranquility, and serenity that you seek. It is you. Know it, feel it, and be it. Be the peace that others seek. Be the stillness that others crave. Be the compassion that others need. It is this stillness that there is clarity and peace. Go forth, dear one, and be that gentle voice that calms the storm. And the prayer is, Great Spirit, lead me to the still waters within myself so that I may find peace. So I feel like for some of you, you may resonate with still at times reacting with spite or bitterness, or maybe you haven't reacted that way in a long time, but you still carry guilt for that. And I think that could definitely be a sign that your guides are really asking you to forgive yourself. And if you need to make peace with someone, if you feel called to, absolutely do so. But I also think for some of you, you may be reacting to times when you're challenged with, rather with, instead of with, I can't talk today. Instead of reacting with rage, spite, or bitterness, you are reacting with peace, love, and compassion for yourself and others. And I think that's very beautiful. And that's something that your guides want you to see as not only a sign of how far you've come and how much you've evolved as a person, but also just how beautiful and kind your heart is. And I think anyone who resonates with still reacting and with rage and bitterness, like, I don't mean to say that you should feel ashamed of that. Obviously, as we just read, like, you deserve to give yourself kindness and compassion and focus on being very nurturing to those parts of yourself so that you can in the future choose to act in a different way. I'm actually hearing, if you've never read The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F-U-C-K, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Frick, there is something in that book that the author talks about where he basically breaks down fault and responsibility. And he talks about how responsibility is always ours, but what we're responsible for is not always our fault. And the more we can recognize that we can be not at fault for something that comes our way, but we can still take responsibility for how we choose to respond to it, that can be something very empowering. So if that is a message that you have been already doing, then this is a sign that your guides want you to see that you've been doing a great job with that. And if you have been wanting to change your behavior, or you're recognizing that your past behaviors don't align with the person you're becoming, I think the universe is really giving you guidance that you can trust yourself to make the right decisions, but also they want you to see just how much you've evolved to the point where you can even be present with your emotions without having to react from that place, but rather, be the eye in the middle of the storm rather than swept up in the emotion and the wind of all of it. You really are leveling up in a very powerful way. And I feel like the coolest thing about this energy that your guides want you to see is that your mind may be terrorizing you a little bit. And it may just be because things are either getting easier, feeling lighter, and you're worried that that is either something that you're going to lose and never get back, or that you don't deserve to feel that way. And I feel like neither of those things are true. In fact, your guides want you to know and understand that this evolution is leading you to a place in life where you'll be able to not only embrace multiple types of feeling at once. So for example, you could be going through a hard time but still have beautiful times. Or you could be having beautiful times but something crappy might happen and you can still honor and acknowledge that. It's like you are either integrating or are aware of the fact that truths can coexist, and your guides want you to see that that is something that is not only bringing you more peace, but setting your mind free as well. With the Queen of Wands here, we do have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius energy, so you could be one of those signs. But with the Sun, we have Leo energy. The Moon, we have Pisces energy. With Awakening, we have Pluto energy. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. And with the Magician, we have Mercury energy, and Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury. So any of those signs could be significant, though you don't have to have any of them. But I do think that one thing that your guides want you to know is that the messages that you have been receiving, you are interpreting correctly. And they do want you to know as well that you can trust your own guidance over the guidance of others. You don't need people to validate your guidance. So long as the guidance you're receiving is loving and kind towards you and is uplifting and brings you more clarity, then that is all you need. However, if you are ever receiving guidance either from someone or from yourself that is judging you, shaming you, making you feel bad about yourself, or just feels off, bad, or wrong, do not take that as true guidance, because your unconditionally loving higher guidance will always give you messages in a way, even if they're tough messages, they're still going to be kind, and they're still going to be rooted in love. So if you ever do get messages that just don't sound right, that just don't feel right, you don't allow your mind to go a million miles an hour thinking, oh, what if I'm wrong, or anything that brings you towards more confusion rather than clarity is not guidance meant for you, period. But your guides also want you to know how blessed you are and how far you have come. I feel like whether you have just awakened to more of yourself recently, anyone who has had one spiritual awakening knows that you don't just have one big awakening and that's it. Like, you get more and more. So you might have had another one recently, or you might have had your first one recently, but this awakening has definitely led to you letting go of a lot of energies that were holding you back, especially when it comes to soul patterns and contracts. And I'm hearing specifically like karmic relationships. That doesn't have to mean a romantic relationship, though it absolutely could. But I feel like what you are recognizing is that you're leveling up, and the same things that once had a pull on your energy or were once almost like irresistible to you are now just, they don't resonate with you. They don't feel right anymore. And your guides want you to know that that is a sign that you are evolving and that you should be very, very proud of how far you've come. They also want you to see how magnetic and radiant you are and how beautiful you are inside and out. They want you to know that your beauty is not something that is physical. I mean, like, you can have physical beauty. Of course, the Queen of Wands is known for being a hottie. But this is more about the light within you making whatever your outer shell looks like even more beautiful. And your guides want you to know that you are so deserving of all the beautiful things coming your way. And not only that, but this is the time to believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and your goals, because not only are you capable of making them happen, but I really do think that anything you're feeling called enough to create in terms of like, that could either be taking a risk or involves you taking up space, is something that not only benefits you, but benefits the people that you're creating or doing this for. So just know that the guidance that you're feeling, or like the messages that you've been getting about what you could create for yourself or the dreams that you have, those are not delusions either. Those are messages, and those are bits of guidance. And I'm literally hearing a very fire song from Barbie, Princess and the Pauper. Totally got snubbed at the Oscars, but there's one song in there where the lyrics go, when you live your dreams, you'll find destiny. It's written in your heart. So your guides really want you to know that you can trust your heart space and continue to let go of that linear mindset that keeps you trapped and that makes you feel like you're not doing enough or that you're not good enough. In fact, your guides want you to know that the name of the game moving forward is really faith over fear. And faith is just loyalty to whatever we believe in, whatever keeps us going, whether that's the universe, God, however you worship, whatever you believe in, or just yourself, faith in yourself. So they also want you to know that your intuition is stronger than your fears. And when you are unsure of when you're getting true intuitive guidance, just remember that anxiety screams, intuition whispers. And so if you are in a really chaotic headspace, it's probably going to be hard for you to listen to your intuition. So it would be a great idea to ground. It would be a great idea to get those thoughts out, whether it's through journaling, exercising, movement, whatever it may be. Your guides want you to see that you can trust yourself more than you think you can, because the intuitive guidance that you're already getting is leading you exactly where you need to go and is leading you to more light and more happiness. And they just want you to know that for the good things coming to you, they need you to know that you deserve to embrace every single bit of it and that you are meant to enjoy it. Symbolic signs of your guides, though, could be a black cat or a white horse or an owl, or even just, there could just be a lot of angels around you that want you to be aware of how blessed you are and how they are watching over you. But you are integrating lessons from all of the planes: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. So with this Magician card, your guides are really saying like you are upgrading in terms of your power and your ability to get things done and your ability to accomplish things. And I feel like maybe one thing you might be struggling with is your sense of self, because you're letting go of old identities, old ways of being that no longer align with who you thought you were. But it might be that because you've kind of let go of things, but for some of you haven't stepped into this newer form of yourself, you might be thinking like, well, I need to figure out who I am before I take action, or I need to figure out what I'm about, and your guides are really wanting you to see that you don't. You just are. And in fact, you will discover yourself through taking action. You're not meant to sit there and ponder who you think you want to be. You'll discover who you are by taking action aligned with your heart. And they want you to see that you can trust your heart and trust your intentions. Obviously, you can't control what people outside of you do, but you can trust yourself and trust that you're being guided exactly where you need to go. In fact, this is a beautiful leveling up where you really just need to be yourself and trust what feels right. You don't need to go above and beyond in terms of pushing yourself, in terms of proving yourself. You have nothing to prove. And in fact, I feel like one of the best things that you can do for yourself is be still until you're ready to act on something. I use this metaphor a lot, but it's kind of like surfing. You know, you can either sit out in the ocean and worry that a wave won't come and feel like you're wasting your time just sitting out there, so you're gonna paddle all the way to shore and waste that energy. Or you could just sit there and enjoy the feeling of the water, enjoy being out there on the waves, and wait for the right wave to carry you to shore much easily. I also think with this Be Still card that your guides are really just encouraging you. Like, if you don't feel like you need to do anything, if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you should be doing, you don't need to do anything. Maybe it's just time for you to rest. Maybe it's just time for you to do your silly little tasks, or do something that you're currently enjoying, or explore something. I feel like more than anything, your guides are just really commending you on your ability to see outside of your immediate reactions, of your immediate emotions, of your immediate impressions, and kind of allow truth to come through. I think that's a big part of this awakening here. But also with the Avengers, your guides, which maybe that's a significant movie for you. Is that a movie? I think so. Yeah, it's like Marvel, right? I feel like your guides want you to know that they're very proud of your integrity, and they want you to see that you do make a difference in the world. And sometimes when we make a difference, I'm going to tell you what I just laughed at, but sometimes when we make a difference, we feel like it's still not enough and we're still not doing enough. And your guides want you to see that the fact that you're doing anything is more than those who are sitting back and criticizing those doing something. I heard in my head, if you don't have haters, you ain't poppin'. So your guides also want you to know that just because some people may not understand why you do the things that you do, or whatever it is that you're doing they might hate on, they just want you to know that as long as you're staying true to your heart, you have nothing to regret, nothing to be ashamed of. And that, you know, the fact that you care not just about yourself, but about the world around you, the people around you, the creatures around you, that just goes to show your heart. And when you're serving the planet or people, or just serving the universe in some positive way, excuse me, you will always be supported. You will always be protected and blessed in that way. Sorry, I need more water. But anyway, yeah, your guides just really want you to see that you're doing an amazing job, and that you've come so far, and that you really need to be kinder to yourself, especially because I feel like your brain may still be bringing experiences of the past up that make you feel like you're not doing enough, or that you're not healed enough. And first of all, there's no such thing as being like fully healed. Like, we're constantly in a process of healing. And sometimes healing just takes time, and it just takes like allowing it to do its work. Like, a lot of times we don't need to be consciously healing something for it to be healed. Like, for example, if we get a cut on our body, like, we don't have to Google how do I heal this cut. Like, your body knows how to do it naturally. I also think your guides want you to see as well that you have a very powerful intuition and you can trust it, which I know I've already said before, but you have wisdom that is very, very evolved for humanity at this time. And you might see other people behaving in ways that like your ego wishes you could behave in, or you like sometimes maybe want to let go of your morals, like you kind of wish you could act in that way, or you wonder if you're weird for acting in the ways that you do. But just know that you're not here to be like everyone else. You're here to be you, and the fact that you have wisdom, you're meant to be the example rather than follow someone else's example. And I think your guides are really just asking you to see the fact that there is a beautiful, confident person that can really do a lot of good in this world, so long as you allow them to come through. I feel like you need to start identifying as confident, even if you don't think you are. because there is a confidence within you emerging, and it will continue to grow stronger as you trust in who you are and you take action without worrying about what the outcome will be, but instead just focusing on your goals and trusting that you will be aligned with those goals, even if they look different with how they played out in your head. So I'm going to go ahead now and get some channeled messages from your guidance. And I'm messing up all the cards as I'm doing it. Also, one thing I wanted to say as well is Pluto energy in general could be significant, but I heard in my head, like, there's no going back. So if you're really worried that, like, something is going to come back into your life or you're going to repeat a cycle, I feel like your guides want you to know that that's not going to happen, and they're going to protect you from that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the ambulance going off right now. And I also see ambulance sirens as a sign that Archangel Michael's around. So any of you feel connected to him, which all of you should, because he's great, that could be a sign that he's watching over you and protecting you as well. But pile one's spirit guides, what do you want pile one to know at this time? Develop a deeper connection with your ancestors and spirit guides by spending time in meditation or talking to them about your needs. They may have been trying to reach you, but you may have not responded or asked for a sign. We have, it's time to disconnect from the external noise that is distracting you from the truth of your intuition, which is currently being clouded. Go within and trust your inner voice. We also have healing music, frequencies, and other forms of sound healing will benefit you greatly now, as it will allow your vibration to tune to the desired frequency. Set aside alone time and unwind with sound. And I have something to add to that. But on the back of the deck, we have clean your space, mentally, physically, and inside your place of dwelling. This is a great time for a deep clean and hitting the reset button. Organizing and tidying up will create more clarity, growth, and well-being. Yeah, and if there's any objects that are tied to negative experiences in your past, it might be particularly healing to, like, let go of those. But particularly, I wanted to say, like, sound frequencies are really great in terms of healing. And I actually have a channel to recommend. They're called Power of You. POWEROFYOU. I've looked at a lot of different sound frequency channels on YouTube, and I just feel like theirs is actually, like, I trust it a lot more. They actually, like, explain what the frequencies are doing and why it's that specific frequency, and they give you guidance, whereas sometimes sometimes I'll be going through the sound healing rabbit hole, and I'm convinced, like, I'll be hearing the same music or the same sounds for, like, different frequencies. All I'm saying is Power of You, they're pretty fire. They have some good sound frequencies. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this reading off with some guidance. So Spirit, what guidance do you have for pile one moving forward, please? We have divine timing. Everything will make sense soon. Trust that the timing of your life is being taken care of by your angels and the universe. We have health. Treat your body with nutrients and exercise. It's important for your overall well-being right now. I love how similar it is to that Queen of Wands card. So maybe if you're looking for confidence or just looking to feel better about yourself, maybe focusing more on your health might be something that helps with that. But we also have spirituality. By opening up your mind spiritually, you become more thoughtful and peaceful. Your spiritual journey is inspiring others, which is great and beautiful. So we're gonna finish off with some surrender cards. So Spirit, what should pile one surrender at this time? Surrender to non-action. Now is the time to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power. Let others come to you. What else, Spirit? Beautiful. We have surrender to complete healing, open to the fully loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. And we have surrender to the beauty of the natural world. Take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and ecstasy there. And on the back of the deck, we have surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take pressure off of you and simultaneously nurture you. So pile 1, that is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for my channel. But if you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, which is incredibly helpful. Comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and subscribe if you haven't already. And you can click that little notification bell to join my notification squad. Shout out to my notification squad. You guys are the best. If you want me to see your comment, I usually see comments when I first upload. Also, I have a brand new candle. If you didn't see it in the intro, it is High Priestess themed, and it is going to be the first of many tarot candles that are made, so that will be linked down below as well. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. Let's see. I also have merch linked down below, as well as my social media, but that is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Fluorite Worry Stone and the Lord of the Rings Tarot, this is going to be your reading on how your spirit guides see you. So if you did miss the intro, I did talk about how our spirit guides only see us through the eyes of love. They don't have ego, and they live in a plane that is unconditionally loving. So if you find yourself invalidating what you feel to be true because your ego is getting in the way, or you don't want to believe that you're as amazing as you are, I really encourage you to challenge that voice and not allow it to overpower the truth of your heart and the truth of all the beautiful things within you. So, okay. Pile 2's spirit guides. How do you see Pile 2, and what would you like Pile 2 to see about themselves as well? Okay, we have the Knight of Wands. We have the Four of Cups. We have the Four of Wands. We have Judgment. And we have the Hanged Man. Okay. Back of the deck is the Ace of Swords. I'm not going to leave this out, but I do think that truth is a big theme in this pile. Anyway, I also shuffled some oracles, so let's look at those. To start, we have Integrity, the number 17. We have Leap, you go first, the universe will catch you. We have the Fool, fearlessly revealing emotion, helping others laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. We also have I release what does not serve me. And finally, actually, she's gonna look better over here. We have the heart chakra with the theme of expansion, the trigger statement being I am not enough, and the true statement is I love myself. Your tender heart is in need of care. Know that your body is here to help you experience a miraculous life. Embrace it. So, okay, wow. Pile 2, I don't know what you guys have been through recently, but I definitely think there has been a massive shift in your perspective. And I wonder if you are waiting to take action on this shift of perspective, either because you're still integrating what you've learned, or you may be still going through a grieving process of what you're leaving behind, or the old life you know you're going to have to leave behind. And that doesn't even have to be anything like major. But for example, you know, I'll use a dumb, silly example. I used to love cosmic brownies growing up, And as I've gotten older, I realized they just taste like cardboard with sugar on top of them, and I just don't enjoy them the way that I used to. And so, you know, releasing the cosmic brownies that never served me, but I at the very least used to get joy out of, it was hard. And it was like, oh man, I'm growing up. But also, like, you can grow up without losing your inner child. But a silly example, but essentially, things you once enjoyed don't have the same magic around them, or the same they don't bring you the same amount of joy. They're not what they used to be. And I do feel like it could be very challenging to deal with this, because for some of you, I get the vibe like you could have been in denial about this for a long time, or you could have ignored that. And I feel like the universe kind of made it to the point where like you would hear the call of like, wherever you were at or are still at is not where you're meant to be. And I feel like you know that and you see that, but what your guides want you to see is that they're not telling you to fix everything tonight or tomorrow. This is not a process that is going to happen overnight. And what your guides want you to know is that these realizations are not meant to make you beat yourself up or have regret for your past actions. Obviously, at times we do need to forgive ourselves for what we didn't know. And, you know, we can carry guilt for the way that we have behaved or the way that we've treated ourselves when we didn't know better. But I feel like what your guides want you to see is that these realizations weren't meant to come so that you could beat yourself up and hide from the world or put yourself down. These truths came through so that you could stop living a life no longer aligned with who you are. And the biggest thing that your guides want you to see is that you do have integrity, and your integrity is the most important thing moving forward. The fact that we have the Knight of Wands here really goes to show that you could be more of an impulsive person, and your guides want you to see that as both a strength and a weakness, because obviously we can act in ways we regret if we're impulsive, but also impulsivity can lead us to taking action much more quickly than someone who's constantly overthinking. And I also think that your guides want you to know that you're not leaving your old world entirely behind. You're keeping what still serves you, releasing what doesn't, and moving forward with openness, recognizing that you're not losing anything, because what you're technically losing doesn't bring you satisfaction or fulfillment anymore anyway. So you're literally just being brought into more of life, more of yourself, and a life more aligned with who you are becoming or who you truly are on the inside. It's just about letting go of what you were attached to before. And I think you may be feeling fear around, what if I make similar mistakes? What if I make all of these changes and then I don't feel any better about myself, or I fail? And first of all, failure and success are subjective definitions, and it comes down to what you value. So, you know, I think one thing that your guides want you to see is that I think your values are changing and what you truly care about is changing. And, you know, there are such things as good values and bad values. So, you know, if you value egoic things like how many followers you have, or how many likes a picture gets, or how much money you have in your account, or things like that, you know, you're probably not going to feel very great by upholding those values. But, you know, values like sticking to your integrity, honoring your truth, connecting with the people that you care about, having experiences that mean something to you, using your time and energy to uplift the world or uplift yourself in ways like, I think your guides want you to see that the values that ring most true to you, while they may not be in alignment with your ego will understand how powerful and important they are as you follow them anyway. I do feel like for some of you, you know, we have this shadow attribute of using humor to wound rather than to liberate, denial of your emotional truth. I feel like you have been in this space where you've been doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I think what you're realizing is that that's not going to happen with this Judgment card here. And in fact, what's being asked of you is a transformational shift that may be hard to initiate, but it will be so easy once you start doing it because you'll realize how aligned it was with you in the first place. I also think one thing that your guides want you to see is that having emotion, and especially if you're sensitive, having emotions is not something to be ashamed of. Emotions are just data and they communicate things. And if we keep them locked up inside, they will only harm us. In fact, the more we can honor our emotions and allow them to flow, the more easily we can move through challenging situations and the more easily we can come to satisfying conclusions. I also think with the Hanged Man here, you may feel like your world is being turned upside down, but I feel like your guides want you to see that it's actually being turned right side up. It's really interesting that we have the Fool and Leap, because in the Fool tarot card, which, I don't know, I'll look for the Fool while I talk about it, there's typically someone jumping off a, the figure of the Fool is literally jumping off a cliff. So I do feel like you are headed towards a new beginning, and you're really focused on the steps that are needed to get there and kind of what needs to be let go of to get there as well. I also think one thing that your guides want you to know is that you don't need a really thought out plan for this. You just need to be in the moment in terms of, like, for example, if you're making a change, if you don't know what change to make, you ask yourself, what's in alignment with my integrity? What's in alignment with my values? And if what you're about to do is not in line with your values, don't do that thing. But if it is, go ahead and do the thing. I feel like your guides really want you to know that one of the perks of being who you are is the fact that you are willing to take risks. You are willing to change things. And that impulsivity also is a sign that you are capable of inspired action. And inspired action is action that feels compelling and is rooted in a place of truth and often comes from the divine itself. So if you, so this is the Fool in this deck, and I'm pretty sure, what is this? I don't know if this is Frodo or Bilbo, but anyway, it's pretty similar to the regular Fool card, except he hasn't taken that leap yet. And I think that kind of makes sense for you, because I do think that you might be really wanting this change, but not ready to let go of what requires you to make those changes. And I think what your guides want you to see is that making these changes is going to be far less painful than continuing to do the same thing that you know you want to change anyway. I guess this is a little bit about choosing your suffering. But I mean, like, I don't want to use a word as extreme as suffering. I feel like this is about choosing your shit sandwich. Like, no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be some sort of shit you have to deal with. So it's like, what shit sandwich do you want to eat? Do you want to eat the shit sandwich of knowing that you can make the changes that might make you happier, but that requires you to change and let go of what doesn't serve you? Or do you want to eat the shit sandwich of, I'm letting go of the things that I know don't serve me, but that I may still be attached to, but I know that this is ultimately worth it to see where it leads me. I really just feel like you need to trust yourself more and know that these changes that you're making are not going to make you feel bad about yourself, and you're not going to regret them. I feel like the biggest thing, though, is that your heart needs more attention from you. You might be invalidating your heart or invalidating your needs, and maybe that's because you have been led to believe that a certain person like you is meant to do things this way, whether it be cultural, social standards, whatever it may be. I feel like you're just recognizing that, I'm hearing the word divergence. So I feel like you are recognizing that you're different from the crowd that you hang out with or the crowd that you surround yourself with. And it might be hard to realize that you have to let go of what's not working there. And that doesn't mean that you cut people out of your life, but it might mean that you make changes about how often you spend time with people and what you prioritize. I also think with the Four of Wands, though, what your guides want you to see is that the changes you're making are really going to bring you so much more happiness, and they might be objectively more boring or not as exciting to the ego, but you'll realize when you feel the satisfaction that your heart feels, and you recognize that what you're doing objectively feels better than what you did in the past, you'll know you're doing the right thing, and it's going to be easier for you to trust in that rather than invalidate it. I feel like what your guides want you to see is that you're ready to make these changes. And if there's anything that you've been pushing off or holding back because you think you're not good enough, or you need to like reach a certain milestone or do a certain thing, your guides are saying that's all an illusion of your ego. In fact, you are more than enough. And it's time to expand your awareness of how incredible you are and how much you deserve to live a life aligned with your truth and not aligned with what you think you should be doing or what others think you should be doing. I really do think it's really interesting that we have the number 19 here, because 19 is also the number of the Sun card. And I really think that the universe is saying the things that you want to the things that you know you should let go of but don't want to are the exact things that when you let go of, you will see how happy it has made you. And like I said, that doesn't even have to be people. It could be letting go of old stuff, letting go of things, of memories that you use to torment yourself with. I feel like the biggest thing your guides want you to see is that you can trust yourself, and you can trust the decisions you make when they're aligned with your heart and your integrity, and you have that in spades. You just have to trust in that. You know, we all make mistakes. We all do things that we regret, and ultimately, like, all we can do is better and move forward and take what we've learned from those experiences and do our best. And, you know, if you have the opportunity to mend things with people or to have healing conversations, absolutely go for that. But I think what your guides want you to see is that you are entering an era that is much lighter and more fun. Like, you might be holding on to an idea of fun, for example, that isn't even fun for you anymore, but you might be worried about what that means about you, and it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you need to stop placing value judgments on what other people think is fun and just start doing what you actually enjoy. I feel like there's kind of a need for you to get over yourself so that you can actually be yourself. Because I think there's a part of you maybe taking yourself way too seriously and then also taking nothing seriously at all. And what your guides want you to see is that the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. Take the things that matter seriously, but also take the things that don't not seriously. Don't be afraid to use that beautiful sense of humor to laugh at, you know, the past versions of you that thought things are not true, or laugh at the fact that I don't know, whatever you that isn't too important that you find funny. I really do think, though, ultimately your guides are leading you to a place of integration and unity within yourself, and your guides really want you to trust what you feel in your soul and in your heart, because that's what's leading you to a happy new beginning that's more aligned with the person you're becoming. And I feel like they just want you to see that you are not what your ego tells you, and you are not what your critical mind tells you. You are so much more than that, and your value is not placed and determined by your past. Your value, first of all, is something that you just have inherently because you have a living, breathing heart. You're a person. But your sense of self-worth will come from character values like integrity, truth, honor, and living in alignment with those. And you'll realize how much more satisfying it is to honor those than it is to hold yourself to arbitrary standards or value things that are fickle and material or not truly nourishing for the soul anyway. Your guides really want you to see that you deserve so much more than what your life is right now, and the way to get there is to start listening to your body and what your emotions are telling you. And if you can't tap into those, it starts with releasing the need to suppress those, because feeling your emotions does not make you weak. Feeling your emotions actually makes you strong, because most people are too afraid to feel them. And not only that, but the only problem with emotions is the human created judgments that we place on them. Like I said, emotions are just data, the same way logic is. And really all you need to know is that the transformation you're going through is going to lead you to a place that you are far more lighter, far more happy. And I feel like you're going to look back at your past self with compassion rather than with cringe, and recognize that your experiences have led you to the person that you are today. And I feel like you are going to use the tough lessons that you've had in order to do better in the future. And I think your guides just want you to see that you should be really proud of even the awareness that you've cultivated, and the fact that you know that things need to change. Like, a lot of people live in, I just heard denial is a river in Egypt, which that's true. But I feel like, you know, your guides want you to know that there are many people that live in denial, and maybe there are people around you that you care about living in denial, and maybe you want them to come with you on your journey. And I feel like one thing that your guides want you to see is that if they're meant to catch up with you, they will. And if they don't, then they'll be replaced with people who can. And that doesn't mean that they are out of your life forever, but it will probably mean that you spend less time with them, because when you're not as aligned with someone, it's kind of hard to connect. But ultimately, anything that you're letting go of is being replaced with something far better and more aligned with you. And this is all about expanding into more of yourself. The identity that you're letting go of, the ego that you're letting go of, or the ego responses you're letting go of, I promise you're not going to miss them. Once you have moved through this transformation more, you're going to realize that you never needed them in the first place, or that you were maybe holding on to them for longer than was necessary. And you may like just realize like, wow, I'm not going to do that anymore, because it feels really good to actually just follow my transformation. So good on you guys for recognizing this. And I think your guys just want you to see how worthy and deserving of love you are. And they just want you to see that you deserve the best life possible. And a lot of the creation of that has to come from within you and come from your ability to make choices that align with the person you're becoming, not the person that you were. So I'm going to go ahead and get some channeled messages now from your spirit guides. Pile 2 spirit guides, what would you like pile 2? Okay, they're like, we got a lot to say. So your psychic abilities are currently evolving and awakening. You may be experiencing vivid visions, vivid dreams, or hearing audible messages from spirit. You are ready for this. Let go of fear. So yeah, I definitely think the Judgment card is confirming that. And we also have, your etheric body is extremely permeable. Be conscious of any darker energies or negative thoughts that can quickly send your vibration downhill. Protect and seal your aura at this time. So yeah, if you're unsure of how to protect your energy, I would Google like grounding and protection meditation. That can be really helpful. I know I did one once in a reading, but I can't remember for the life of me what that is. So yeah. What else, Spirit, would you like pile 2 to know? We have, this may be a time of great change in your life, or you will soon change tracks completely. This could be moving locations, a new job opportunity, or doing something risky. This is a divinely guided shift for you. Take a chance. Yeah, the universe is really telling you to go for it. And you are currently on a path of higher spiritual ascension, and you may find that you are no longer resonating with previous timelines and vibrations. Trust that your soul knows exactly which path to walk at this time. I love when the channeled messages confirm what I was channeling. But on the back of the deck, we have move your body through physical exercise. Your energy can become stagnant and energetically slow when you are inactive. Walk, run, dance, bike, or engage in any other form of movement. And I definitely feel like that's confirmed through this Knight of Wands here. And I guess I should mention signs since we didn't talk about them, but the Knight of Wands is all the fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Hanged Man is Pisces energy, and Judgment is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So any of those energies could be significant, but they don't have to be. Anyway, I'm going to get some messages about surrender now. So, Spirit, what should pile 2 surrender at this time for their highest good? That's a good one. Surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. Absolutely. I feel like that's another thing too, is you really need to celebrate how far you've come and celebrate the fact that you're even aware that things need to shift and change. What else? We have surrender your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Absolutely. There is room for you. There is space for you, and you are meant to take up space. We also have surrender procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. And on the back of the deck, we have surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. So we're going to finish off with some positive guidance cards. So pile 2 spirit guides, what final guidance would you like to give pile 2, please? Okay, let's see what's on the back of the deck. Coincidences. Take notice of the coincidences which are occurring around you right now. The universe is trying to have its say in your life. Absolutely. Let's see. We also have refocus your energy. Sometimes the most productive way forward is to stop, rest, and reassess. We have let it go. It's time to let go of the negative thoughts that are consuming you. Don't waste your energy on them any longer. And we have forgive, whether in person or in your mind, forgive and move forward. The only person you're hurting by holding on to resentment is yourself. So, pile 2, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for what I do. But if you'd like to support me in any other ways, you can like this video, which is incredibly helpful. Comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to click that little bell notification if you'd like to be part of my notification squad. I most often see comments when I first upload, so if you want me to see your comment, you are I'm most likely to see it when that happens. You can also check out my new candle, the High Priestess candle. Be sure to check her out. She's in the intro if you didn't get to see her, or as well as any other candles. Be sure to use code ASO10, link down below. I also have merch and social media, though do be aware of scammers pretending to be me. Scammers will be scamming. That's what they do. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here and for letting me read your cards. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Atlantisite heart and the Way of the Panda Tarot, this is going to be your reading on what your spirit guides see in you and about you that they want you to see too, how they see you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by shuffling your tarot, and then I will lay out your oracle cards. But if you chose this deck, I just have to tell you that you have very good taste. Not that the other piles don't, but this is one of my favorite decks, and I love using it. So shout out to you for having good taste. Let's be real though. The fact that you're here and watching just goes to show you have good taste in general. And I love that for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and see Spirit, pile 3 spirit guides. How do you see pile 3, and what would you like pile 3 to see about themselves? We have the 4 of Pentacles. We have the 8 of Cups. We have the 4 of Cups. We have the 2 of Wands. One more. We have the Hermit. Okay. So now, looking at your oracle cards, to start, we have Surrender with number 31. We have Share Your Voice, Come Out of the Cave, Persecution, Expression. I'm very fascinated at how similar these 2 cards are. We also have Angel, Helping Those in Need with No Expectation of Return. We have I Embrace Change. And we have the Heart Chakra with the theme of Awaken, the trigger statement being I don't know what to do, and the true statement being every moment is a new opportunity. Take time to engage in your senses and create. The tension that has been dividing your head and heart is leaving. Okay. So the first thing that your guides want you to see is how powerful you are. And this isn't power in terms of like physical power, or power that is used to gain from others or benefit from others. This power is solely within your heart, and it's something that you know exists, but I feel like it's something that you have a hard time validating, or at the very least have a hard time trusting in, because you fear other people not seeing your heart that way, or misconstruing your intentions, or accusing you of doing things that don't align with your heart. And I feel like your guides are wanting you to see that is not something that should stop you from sharing who you are and what you feel you are meant to do. I feel like one thing that your guides want you to see is that if you struggle with loneliness, which I guess all of us do, you might be feeling like no one in the world shares your perspective or sees the world the way you do. And I feel like your guides want to pose the question, is that the reality, or is the truth that there are people out there who share the viewpoints of the world the same way that you do, but maybe they're just as afraid as you to come out and share what they think, because they're also seeing the things that don't align with their heart, and they're also afraid of being attacked or being shamed for their perspective. Your guides are clearly saying they want you to see that not only do you have messages to share with other people, and this doesn't have to be through like reading cards, for example, it absolutely could be, but this could be through art. This could be through just communicating with people you care about. This could be through activism or advocacy. This could be through learning, whatever it may be. Whatever you're doing in life or want to pursue in life, there's definitely something here that your guides want you to see, that you feel drawn towards what you feel drawn towards for a reason. And I feel like your heart may be very big and very sensitive, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But it can get bogged down by the workings of ego and by the base level at which society is operating in, which, you know, I say base in quotations because obviously we can't really just sit here and say that like there is a standard without like creating and sampling and doing things. But what we can say objectively is that, or at least our subjective objective perspective of the way that a lot of mainstream society seems to be operating right now is in fear-based thinking and is in this divisive mentality that is very us against them and very attack them and uphold what I believe in. That's very negative, if I'm being honest. And I feel like there is a lot of you that has a hard time honoring and trusting what you feel to be right and what you feel to be true, because you are so afraid of being attacked by people like this, or you are so afraid of what you believe in being torn down by others who don't agree. And what your guides want you to understand is that there's always going to be people that don't agree with you. And the thing is that you have to remember as well is you're coming from a place of heart. You're not coming from a place of solely mind-based perspectives. And when someone is solely living in their head and viewing their world through their head, they're not going to be able to truly understand what you're saying because they're not feeling it. They're not understanding that feeling. And the thing is that I'm not saying that your guides want you to see that you should only care about your heart. I mean, your head is important too. They need to work in tandem. But if anything, the head needs to serve the heart. The head needs to be the practical go-to organ guy that you rely on to implement the greater ideas and ideals that the heart dreams up and makes you feel passionate about. So I want to read the surrender card because I feel like it's very important for you to understand. Okay, well, I guess you can see the card, so I don't need to hold it up. Surrender to what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. If you have picked this card, you are being guided to surrender. Surrender your worries, burdens, and control over outcomes and just be with life in this present moment. By surrendering, you allow life to move forward naturally as it should. Resisting the natural cycles of life only causes anguish, frustration, and a feeling of constant struggle. Dear one, stop persisting in swimming the other way. When you push against life, life pushes back, and what you resist most will continue to exist in your life. Do you feel perplexed by the fall of autumn leaves? No, for there is a trust in the natural cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. We too experience these cycles. However, most of us live in a state of unawareness and resist the cycles of birth and death within them. This doesn't mean that you should quit, but rather that you should make a decision to trust in the cycles of life. For when you are in acceptance of what is, you become empowered to attract the outcome you desire. Acceptance does not mean giving up your power and light to another, allowing yourself to be ill-treated or giving up on your dreams. Acceptance is giving up your resistance to what is and allowing spirit to guide you to do what needs to be done. When you surrender that tight hold you have on the situation and bring yourself to a place of inner peace, you will find that clarity. Solutions will appear and allow deeper wisdom to guide your way. Energy that was once spent on resistance will now be focused on projects that bring you joy. This in turn will attract the miracles and blessings that you so hope for. And I feel like this is the key sentence here. Energy that was once spent on resistance will now be focused on projects that bring you joy. I don't think focused is spelled with 2 S's, but anyway. This in turn will attract miracles and blessings you so hope for. And the affirmation is, I surrender to this moment and trust in Great Spirit to guide my way. And the associated chakra, solar plexus. And here's something even very interesting. Even now, when I was sharing that message, the fact that focused, I don't know, maybe it is spelled with 2 S's and I'm just wrong, but it literally took me out of the moment of the message, the underlying message that was important, because I was like, oh, I think that's spelled wrong. What did that serve? Literally nothing other than me just giving into that thought in the moment. Does it change the integrity of the message? No, absolutely not. And if anything, for example, in America, we spell color C-O-L-O-R. But if you live in the UK, you probably spell color C-O-L-O-U-R. Doesn't make either incorrect. We're both talking about the word color, but we just spell it differently. So maybe focus is spelled with 2 S's, and I'm getting preoccupied about something that doesn't even necessarily matter. And I think that is a core of what is happening with you in your life, because you clearly have an intelligent mind and an intelligent voice. I'm not sitting here saying like, I'm intelligent. No. But what I'm saying is that one pattern of behavior that humans have right now is to latch on to anything wrong with something and to focus on that so intently. Ironically, the word is focus on that so intently that they're missing the greater picture. And I feel like one thing that you've been doing is focusing so much on the world around you that you haven't even taken the time to look at the wealth of wisdom, vision, and beauty within you. And not only that, there is such a powerful spirit that is looking to rise and give and share with the world what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're sensing, whether that's just with the people around you or a greater world at large. And the thing that you need to know is that if you are going to share things with a greater world at large, no, not everyone is going to agree with you. People will think it's absolutely okay to abuse you behind a screen and say cruel things to you, and there's nothing you can do about it but accept it. I mean, you don't have to say it's okay. You can block and you can do what you can to get away from that, but ultimately, there is never going to be a situation in where everyone agrees with you wholeheartedly and is only kind and supportive. Now, the beautiful thing is that the vast majority of people are kind and supportive even if they don't agree with you. It's actually a minority of people that are that angry and dissatisfied with their lives that they have to try to tear people down, that they have to try to hate on people in order to make themselves feel better. The thing is that it's not your job to change their opinion. It's not your job to heal them. It's not your job to show them where they're wrong. What your job is to accept that that's where they're at, and that shouldn't stop you from doing what's important to you. Because ultimately, you have gifts to share with the world that are staying stuck in planning mode, that are staying stuck in within you, that you're not sharing because you're afraid of being attacked and you're afraid of what you believe in being torn down. And the thing is that through life, our beliefs likely will change. And what we once thought to be true will change as well. When I was little, I used to think that we constantly lost teeth. I used to think that whenever you lost a tooth, you would get a new one. And so I didn't realize that when I lost my baby teeth, these are my last teeth. I thought those teeth were going to go too, until someone was like, no, actually you only get one set of baby teeth. Whoa, crazy. But that doesn't mean I beat my past self up for thinking that, right? I was just like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You just get more teeth when the other ones fall out. What you need to do is to take a step back and recognize that your sense of self-worth should not be attached to your ideas. But instead, what your guides want you to see is that your ideas hold value and hold meaning for you. And so therefore, they should be shared. What other people do with those ideas, it's not really under your control. But the thing is that you have this light to share with the world, and you're hiding it because you're afraid of the way the world is going to react to you. And the thing is that you can't control the way the world is going to react to you. Not only that, But it seems like you've been going through this really powerful process of transformation where you have been letting go of a lot of past wounds that made you feel like you needed to hide from the world, that you needed to keep things under wraps because you weren't in a place to handle that sort of negativity coming your way or that sort of negative energy being directed at you. And what your guides are saying is that you've been doing a lot of healing. And I think you know in your heart that you're ready to let go of this safe existence where you don't go outside of your comfort zone, because let's be real, you're not thriving in this existence. And it's not that you're doing bad, it's just that you could be doing even better and your heart could be even fuller. And it might be that there are times where you get distracted from what's truly important to you because you're so focused on what everyone else is focused on outside and outside of yourself. And that's not a problem. Humans are social creatures. It only becomes a problem when it takes you away from you and it makes you start to question what's truly important to you. An open mind is useless without an open heart, because the mind can argue anything, even the most deplorable things, and come up with a convincing argument for it. That's how atrocities happen. But an open heart, a vulnerable heart, knows and feels. I won't say no, it feels when something is, I don't want to say right or wrong, but on or off with where that heart is at. And your heart knows what is truly fulfilling and sustainable. And one thing that your guides want you to see is that there's nothing in your past that is truly holding you back from being able to make a difference in your present and share more of yourself. I think the thing is, as well, is that you're so anticipatory of negativity from sharing things that you're not even recognizing that there will be far more love and kindness and generosity given towards you when you do share what you have to say. There really is something to be said for you get back what you put out. And what your guides want you to understand is that when you put something out and it comes from a place of love, it comes from a place of passion and meaning, that feeling has to outweigh the fear of what other people are going to think. Because ultimately, like I said, you can't control what's outside of you. And that is something that your guides want you to see that is so important to surrender, because it's taking up too much space in your head. Like, even all of your pandas are stationary in these cards. And there are lots of pandas that are not stationary in this deck. But it's just kind of like everything, all these ideas are percolating. And your guides are wanting you to know and understand that you don't have to have everything figured out. This is not what you are trying to understand through your linear mind, something that is meant to be done and felt in an intuitive way. And what your guides want you to know is that the past and the future, the what ifs or the I should haves, are not going to serve you when it comes to focusing on the present and what is truly important. I feel like you are holding yourself to the standards of what other people deem worthy and valuable, and that's something that your guides want you to let go of and get rid of. But I think it's really interesting as well with this person in the I Embrace Change card. It looks like they have snake skin on their back. And I do really think that one of the things that you are shedding right now is this old skin and this old sense of self. But at the same time, I feel like you're also becoming stronger. And the only way to become stronger in what you know and believe in is to act from that place of belief and to also create from that place of belief and to share from that place of belief. It doesn't mean you will believe that thing forever. Your beliefs can grow and evolve over time. The most important thing is that you don't get so attached to something, to a certain belief, that your ego gets attached to it and then you're not able to let go and be open to what you still don't know. Because you have to let go of the idea that you need to know everything before you start, because there's no such thing as knowing everything. None of us can know everything. Like, the human brain is not designed to be that way. Like, we are always going to have blind spots. We're always going to have things that we didn't think about. Nothing that we do is fundamentally perfect. But that's kind of the point. You have to accept and surrender that need for perfection and that need for zero resistance when you show up in the world. Because if you're showing up in the world the way you are authentically, you likely are going to encounter some resistance. But I promise you, you're also going to encounter a lot of support. It's about where you focus your energy and what you allow to affect you. People who are showing up as their authentic self will always trigger people who are not. Like that is just a fact. And that's not something you can control. And it would be a waste of your energy to try to. And the thing is I so desperately want to keep talking about you, but the messages keep shifting to outside of you. And I think what your guides want you to see in general is you and your light. Because the more you see you and are just open to it without placing any judgments, the more you will realize the value within you that you are meant to create from and share with others. You are like you for a reason. And if you are looking outside of yourself thinking, I need to be more like this person, or I need to have XYZ until I'm ready, or your guides want you to see that your ego is holding you back because it is afraid of the outcome. It is afraid of the response to you being yourself. I promise it is not as bad as you think it is. But from what I can tell, this group is definitely very sensitive. And sensitivity is not a bad thing. We can use it in harmful ways if we're unaware of how our sensitivity affects others and the behavior that stems from our sensitivity affects others. If the way it affects others is harmful. But this sensitivity is meant to make you aware of things that other people are not. And when you speak out about that, there are going to be people that invalidate that because they can't sense or perceive it. That doesn't make it any less true. You know? If you were the only person in the world that saw color and everyone else was black and white colorblind, and you were like, no, I see color, I see all of this, you would probably, like, people would not believe you because they couldn't see that for themselves. And so, does that make you any less wrong? No, it's just your perception. But the way that we are acting in society right now is quite honestly that, like, we are looking for the flaws and faults in everything. We are looking for what's wrong. We're not looking at what's right. And also, our society is profoundly negative. And I'm not going to say that that is unfounded, because realistically, we have a lot of problems in the world. But we need people that are not so bogged down by nihilism and negativity to be able to inspire others to take action to make changes, rather than sit down and just bitch about all the things that are wrong about the world without doing anything to stop it. There are many, many people, especially in my generation, Gen Z, that are struggling because, first of all, being raised with technology is just such a pioneer. We're pioneers for that, right? Probably not in good ways. But the ways in which technology is manipulating our brains and the ways in which algorithms manipulate us, our emotions, our beliefs, our perceptions, it's all very powerful. And now more than ever, we need people with a connection to their heart space that can remind people what is truly important. Doesn't mean what other people are talking about isn't important. It just means that there's a lot, like, the mind gets its credit everywhere, but the heart gets invalidated constantly and repeatedly. And I feel like you have messages to share that come from your heart, and you can use your mind to share them intelligently and eloquently. And rather than be so worried about somebody tearing that down, what you need to understand is that they don't have your perspective, and that's okay. You're not here to share a perspective that everyone else already has. You're here to share a perspective that nobody is hearing and nobody is seeing, because that is what will help encourage other people who share your perspective to agree with you and share theirs too. What you need to know and understand is that you are never going to know everything. You are never going to be completely right. There's no such thing as that. All you can do is your best. And I think at the end of the day, as long as what you're doing aligns with your values, aligns with your heart, and aligns with the greater ideals of truth, integrity, love, that's the best you can do. And if somebody wants to project their own lack of integrity or their own assumptions onto you, allow that to be just their mirror, showing them who they truly are. Because what people do to you is so much less about you and so much more about them. I feel like it's time for you to kind of let go of this need to hold back and hold on to what was, because I feel like there's a part of you that's suffering. And I wouldn't say dying, but it's suffocating because it's not being seen by you or expressed by anyone else. And I think that one thing your guides want you to see is that just because someone outside of you has a different opinion doesn't mean it's better or more valid than yours. And notice that I say the words better or more valid. I didn't say right. The idea of right and wrong in general is very flimsy at best. And I feel like your guides want you to let go of the idea that you need to know everything, because really you just need to know nothing. And the more you learn, the more you'll realize the less you know. And you will continue to know less and less. And that is important because it will keep you open to learning and growing as a person. What you've been focused on and the ways in which you've been doing things are clearly not meeting a need within you. And so your guides want you to pay attention to what is no longer serving you and let go of your need to hold on to that so tightly. I feel like what you're holding on to is this fear of being yourself, this fear of sharing who you are, this fear of showing up in the world and taking up space. And your guides are really wanting you to know and understand that the messages you feel passionately about, the truths that you feel passionately about, are not ones that are meant to stay hidden in the shadows. The reason why those messages are becoming more intense, those truths are becoming more intense, is because they are seeking you, because those messages, those truths trust you to be an outlet through which you can express them in the material reality. And your guides want you to see that as well. The tension that has been dividing your head and your heart is leaving, and they want you to see that the more you surrender that attachment to that division, the more you can flow with what is instead of trying to constantly know and understand. And here's the thing, you don't need to beat yourself up for that, because we're really taught to learn how to do things before we do them. And in certain ways, that can be very important, you know? If you're going to be an electrician, you shouldn't just wake up and be like, I'm going to be an electrician. I'm going to go just play with electricity. That's probably not going to be a good idea. You're probably going to want to learn how to do that first. But when it comes to things like, I'm going to start drawing, like, unless you are drawing mean pictures and intending to harm people, like, the worst outcome of just drawing is that you're not going to like what you see on the paper. And that comes down to a perfectionism ideal, and an ideal that what you see in your head is not what your physical body is able to replicate and recreate at this time. And I would like my very skilled artists who have been doing, you know, their modality of art for years to comment down below and talk about how I'm sure even what you see in your head, no matter how much technical skill you've gained over time, it still sometimes doesn't turn out how you picture it in your head, or even it doesn't turn out how you picture it in your head at all. But maybe it's even better. Or maybe you've come to a place of acceptance that the material reality just cannot match the perfectionist, idealistic images that we create in our head. And that's okay. The one thing that I think that you need to understand is that you are just as human as the people that you are fearing, whose reactions you are maybe obsessing over or fearing. And what you need to understand is that you are just as worthy and deserving of sharing your voice and sharing your truth. And what you need to know and recognize is that you may be unfairly invalidating yourself in ways that just take you off your path and make you more afraid to express who you truly are. And what your guides want you to see is that the truths within you that are loving, that bring you lightness of heart and spirit, those are not truths that you are meant to deny. Your guides want you to see how much they love you. They don't want you to see. They want you to feel how much they love you. And so I'm going to ask for you to take a second and just kind of take a few deep breaths and just ask your true, unconditionally loving spirit guides to show you love, to help you feel their love. And I don't know if you will feel anything, if at all, but I hope you did. I've never felt called to do that before, so definitely let me know what you felt. You may need to pause the video and like really feel into that. But what your guides want you to know and understand is that they love you for who you are, no matter how flawed or how imperfect you are. And that's because every human is flawed. Every human is imperfect. We all have our weak points. We all have things that we're not good at, and we all have insecurities. We all have moments where we act in ways we wish we wouldn't have. We all have moments of weakness. We're human. And I think a big problem in today's society is that we place people on pedestals and act like they should be more than human. And we even have this expectation of ourselves to be more than we truly are. Like, we're all contributing to this misery, in our own ways. And a lot of that is directed towards ourselves. And a lot of that happens because we care so much about what other people think. And I feel like what your guides want you to see is that you are far too focused on what's outside of you, and you are missing all of the beauty within you and around you. You're not meant to exist outside of society and outside of humanity. You may need more time alone, and that's absolutely okay. I get it. I'm an introvert too. But what your guides want you to know and understand is that people need you. People need your light. People need your messages. People need what you have to say to the world. And people need your heart. More than anything, they need your heart. And what you need to know is that you can never be disappointed with what you share with others as long as it comes from a place of authentic truth and integrity within your heart. And if you are giving with no expectation of receiving, anything you receive back from people and from others is going to not only humble you, but just make you feel so grateful and happy that that kindness exists outside of yourself. And one thing that you do need to remember is that we often don't see the kindness and integrity and the character that humanity does have, because we are in a culture where outrage sells, drama sells, negative crap sells. But there are billions of people on this planet with kind hearts that are just looking and seeking connection and authenticity and kindness. And you can be someone that contributes to that. And you deserve to contribute that part of yourself to the world. What your guides want you to see is that that's your most valuable self. And I really think that this Eight of Cups is very emblematic of the fact that a lot of your past experiences, while horrific and traumatic, do not reflect the truth of who you are. They reflect the truth of the people that did those things to you and where they were at. But what your guides want you to see is that you've grown and evolved so much. Like, look at all these butterflies. I really think butterflies and also mushrooms could be significant. Mushrooms, because you're a fun guy. They could be significant symbols for you. And like, look at how many butterflies there are. I feel like butterflies really could be a sign that your guides are around you. And I think you have a lot of unconditionally loving spirit guides that really just want to give you the encouragement to share more of yourself in the world. And it doesn't have to be in a way where you're sharing it with anyone other than the people that you love and care about, but just showing up in the world more authentically yourself and being less afraid to hold back your truths and your feelings and your vulnerability. That is what's going to help make you feel free and feel less boxed in and feel less trapped. Every moment is a new opportunity to become a little bit more of yourself. And I think one of the things that your guides want you to see is that rather than tearing yourself down or telling yourself who you are, let go of the idea of who you are in general and allow yourself to discover more of who you are and who you can be through your action and what inspires you and what moves you. Your life and your value are not something that can be determined by other people outside of you. Other people have different values. Some people have good values, some people have shitty values. But ultimately, every single human being that has a living, breathing heart, at least I guess I value kindness and connection, but every human has value because they're alive. And I believe that. And you may not believe that, but I do. And I think that one thing that your guides want you to see is that you don't need to do something to be worthy of value. You don't need to do something to be worthy enough to share yourself. If you have a message, you can share it. If you have an image, you can share it. If you have a dream, you can share it, even if it's just with yourself. But what your guides want you to see is that all of this inspiration is not doing any good, just sitting in your head. And I think more than anything, they want you to see that you can see that light authentically. You can see that light realistically and know it's pure and know what the source from which you are creating from has a purity to it. So whenever someone does inevitably project their own shit onto what you create, you can fully recognize that it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And the more you withstand that energy and the more you invest energy within yourself and see the beauty of yourself and honor the integrity that you have within, the more you'll realize that none of that can truly harm you. And anyone that would uphold someone else's projections and miss the value or the purpose of what you are sharing or what you are giving is not someone that you want to engage with in your life anyway. Ultimately, I feel like your guides want you to see that you don't need to be permission to be who you are, but since you seem to need to, I'm writing you an imaginary permission slip to be who you are, pile 3. Please take it, okay? And maybe create your own little permission slip if you want to. But this permission slip just tells you from the universe that you have the freedom to be who you are. It's very important that person try not to cause harm to yourself or others. But you need to stop holding yourself back because you think you're inherently unworthy or inherently undeserving. I really do think you're very focused on things that will take up things that are not as, I think you are imagining monsters to be much bigger than they truly are, and the darkness of humanity to be much more powerful than it truly is. You know, the light is needed to help us see more clearly in the darkness. And when you are a light, you are going to stick out. When you do share your light, you will stick out. But that doesn't mean you should stop, because you're helping people who are stuck in the darkness see their way through and see more of themselves. And the more you step into your light, the more you're going to see your own darkness. And the more you're going to be able to understand that that is also part of what makes you human. Because ultimately what your guides want you to see is that you are human. You are divinity and animal mixed together. And the more you get in touch with yourself and your greater, deeper beliefs, and you bridge that in the material realm, the more you realize that you are just this divine mixture of matter and spirit. And the more you get out of your head and into your heart, the more you will realize how so much of our society is driven by thought forms and driven solely by the head, and how, you know, there could be noble intentions, but it can lead to consequences that are, you know, very hard for the human condition for the human spirit to endure, period. The human spirit, I think, is something that, you know, we don't need to have scientific evidence for in order for us to know it's real. Like, there are things we just feel, and there are things that we just know without knowing, and we don't have to know everything in order to feel something and be moved from it anyway. And I think more than anything, what your guides want you to see is that you are missing out on so much beauty within and outside of yourself, because you're so focused on what could possibly hurt you, what could possibly attack you, what could possibly invalidate who you are. And I feel like your guides are saying that your vulnerability is a strength. And the more you share that with others, and the more you do experience, you know, other people disagreeing with you or being negative towards you, the more you'll realize, oh, I'm still here. And while it might hurt, it might take you a second to move through something, it's not going to stop you from doing what is important to you unless you allow it. What did that part in the book say? Energy that was once spent on resistance will now be focused on projects that bring you joy. This in turn will attract the miracles and blessings that you so hope for. So I'm hearing Bonnie Tyler in my head right now. So you are the hero you are holding out for. And what you need to let go of is the resistance, because I feel like what you are really projecting as resistance outside of you is resistance within you, because it's generated by this fear of not being accepted, this fear of not being seen and heard, or not being respected. And the thing is that is on other people. But when you give that to yourself, then you empower others to do the same towards you. Nobody can validate this beautiful heart of yours because you're not sharing it with people. You're not sharing that. So the more you share those authentic parts of yourself, the more you will align and find other people that share those as well. Because, you know, I'm literally hearing in my head, like, real recognizes real. Like, you will recognize those fellows that resonate with that. And the more you know who you are, the less people can tell you who you are. And the more you will just see that as, oh, so that's where you're at in life, okay, and move forward. I really do think your guides just need you to see that you are strong enough to face external resistance and still share your truth. There are many people that share things that are arguably not helpful at all and mean and hateful, and they have tons of people that support them. So imagine if you were sharing messages of love. So, and really too, like I said, this doesn't have to be publicly. I feel like for a lot of you, maybe you do want to start speaking publicly, or you do want to sharing more of what you believe, whether it be online or in your community. And I feel like that is a wonderful thing to aspire towards, but you just have to remember that your truth needs to be stronger than the resistance that you sharing more of yourself creates, which I wouldn't even say it creates that resistance. It's just natural. Like, people don't agree. And I don't know if you've noticed recently, but like, there is just a lot of people that just like comment on whatever they think is wrong, or they're just constantly spouting what they think is right. Let them do that. You don't have to. Your self-awareness is a gift, but I feel like you are filtering, you're using your self-awareness in a way where you're scanning your external environment for threats and then asking, okay, what could I do that could possibly bring about those threats? And I think it's bringing you to the point where you're like, I can't do anything but like sit with myself and hide what I truly feel because I'm afraid of being attacked. And your guides are saying no more. This is the most powerful card in your spread, and it's the card you keep coming back to, because a lot of your cards, you know, the Four of Pentacles is about holding back and holding on to what you have, not sharing. The Eight of Cups is about moving forward. But here's the interesting thing. Typically, the figure in the Eight of Cups is moving away from the cups. But in this case, the panda is waving these butterflies that are coming from the cups. So these transformational experiences. I feel like one of the things that your guides want you to see is that your experiences have made you who you are, for better or for worse. How you feel about them or what conclusions you come is up to you. But I feel like you deserve to have peace in the fact that what has happened to you is not a direct reflection of your value or worth as a person. Not only that, with the Four of Cups, I feel like Spirit is saying there's opportunities and options you're not seeing, which I think is the one opportunity and option you're not seeing is feel the fear and do it anyway. Not only that, with the Two of Wands, I feel like you make all these wonderful plans, but then you get afraid to actualize them, especially if you've got any Virgo energy or Gemini energy, Mercurial energy. If you can really just see so many different perspectives, you might have a hard time sharing yours. And the thing is that's okay. Make that a strength. When you're sharing something, look at it from all sides. Make sure all things are heard. Like, you can use all parts of you to have a more encompassed vision. And I feel like what your guides are really just saying is they want you to see that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to be criticized. It's okay for people to disagree with you. But what's not okay is for you to hold yourself back and to hide who you are and to suffer in this comfort zone of yours you've created and not allow the beautiful mind and the beautiful heart that you have to work together to create, to bring more of yourself into the world and to bring more of what you think and what you feel into the world. You're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing a disservice to all the people that need to hear what you have to say or see what you have to make or read what you have to write. what you feel called to do and moved to do has value, and you can't control the response. All you need to do is trust in what you feel guided to do. Accept and surrender the need to control what the outcome is or control how you're seen, because you're never going to be seen truly and authentically as you. You can only see yourself as much as you're willing to see yourself. And other people can only see you through which the lens and perception of life that they look at. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into your channel messages now, because that was a lot of message. And I feel sad that like less of this was about you, but I think that there's point in that. And you need to start seeing yourself. You need to start sharing yourself and discovering who you are rather than trying to figure it out. Just allow yourself to be and allow that to unfold. You know, you're like a beautiful rose that is blooming. And right now it's like you're stuck in that bud stage where you're just all tightened up, and it's just, you just need to allow yourself to beautifully unfold. And there will be parts of yourself that you resonate with now that you probably won't with 5 or 10 years in the future. That is part of the cycles of life and death. And when we are so stuck on a certain idea of ourselves or a certain image or a certain perception, you know, we can hold ourselves back. So this is also about being able to let go and surrender to what it is, and not placing value judgments on how things change, on how you change, because you will change. If you're not growing, you're rotting. Period. Anyway, pile 3 spirit guides. What would you like pile 3 to know? Journaling your thoughts, worries, or ideas can be a healing tool for you at the moment. Pick up a pen and paper and write out whatever is on your mind, or perhaps whatever you wish to manifest. Your thoughts need an outlet. Yeah, that definitely, yes, your thoughts 100% need an outlet. And like I said, you don't even have to share it with other people. And there may be some of you that are so sensitive with like even just seeing your own thoughts, because maybe you criticize everything you think or speak or create. And that is not something that you should be blaming on the outside world. That is something where you need to look at yourself and say, where do I need to show myself more compassion? Because I'm literally not allowing myself to be human. I'm literally not allowing myself to express. You need to be able to express. Otherwise, it's just going to stay pent up. Find a sacred space in your home or anywhere you feel drawn to. Dedicate this space to finding comfort, safety, and prayer. Make this spot your altar or safe haven when times get tough, or use it as a daily connection. Yeah, I mean, even like 15 minutes a day of just connecting with your own energy can be enough to keep you on course and keep you reconnected with your truths, because it is so easy to get lost in like mental rabbit holes or anything like that. The mind is a very powerful but also very fragile gift we humans have, and it's about how we use it, and if we let it run amok and overpower our greater truths and the truths of our heart, because our heart is like the representative of our soul. She's kind of like the secretary of our soul, and she knows things that the conscious linear mind cannot understand. What else, pile 3 spirit guides, would you like to say to pile 3? There is a romantic love, whether in your life now or arriving in the future, that is very divine and spiritual, and is meant to flow easily, naturally, and bring happiness, abundance, and growth in your life. And so I'm going to say that this could absolutely be a romantic love, and maybe for some of you, you've been trying to manifest that, and you're not finding that, and it could be because you need to start sharing more of yourself. And maybe this sharing of yourself is your authenticity, you know? Even when it comes to dating, like there's so much bullshit. I guess it's bullshit in my perception. It's not objectively bullshit. It's valid in the minds that it's being shared from. But in my mind, it's bullshit because there's so much strategy when it comes to dating. And it's like, there's a lot of egoic based perceptions around love and what love should be. And I feel like love is love. Like, it just is what it is. Like, you can't force it. You can't strategize your way into it. It's just something that happens. And I think anything that is meaningful and that you love, it is meant to flow easily, naturally, and bring happiness, abundance, and growth to your life. And so I feel like not only is it important for you to be authentic with yourself, that's what helps you cultivate authentic connection with others. And it's like you can only be as real with others as you can only be as real with others as real as you are with yourself. And so I guess a better way of putting that is you can only meet others with where you're at. And same goes for them. Others can only meet you with where they're at. And so the more of yourself you share, the more opportunities other people will have to see what's truly inside of you and where your heart truly is. And people that resonate with that will be drawn to that, like flies to honey. And one more, Spirit. This is or will be a period of purging or releasing outdated patterns, karmic contracts, and other past experiences, energies for you. You may feel symptoms or endure an upheaval. Surrender now. So yeah, there's a lot about surrender. And on the back of the deck, we have silence is the best answer at this time. If someone is waiting for a response or you're trying to decide on communication or movement, let things be for now. Sit in silence. And I think that's the thing, is what your guides want you to understand is that, like, there's nothing wrong with taking time to yourself or keeping things to yourself, but if you're not actually listening, you still have to listen to yourself. Like, you can be with yourself and objectively be alone, like physically be alone for long periods of time, but if all that time is spent like occupying your mind and doing things that like keep you distracted from yourself, you're still not sitting with yourself. But we're gonna keep going with guidance now. I definitely bet that that your guys' reading is probably a lot longer than the other readings so far. But pile 3 spirit guides, what should pile 3 surrender at this time? Surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in. Compassionately identify it and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. And it's so funny because I really wasn't getting anything about like romantic love in general here, but I think that if you've been really focused on romantic love or really focused on manifesting that, I think that Spirit is saying we're trying to get you there, and that it's through everything that I was talking about. But I also think this fear of intimacy has to do with fear of intimacy with yourself. Like when we just did the feeling thing earlier, I guess you can call it an exercise. If you couldn't allow yourself to feel, if you couldn't open yourself up to that, or if you thought what I was saying or doing was stupid, you're the exact person who needs to let go of that intimacy the most. I hope some of you feel called out by that with peace and love. But you won't know it's with peace and love unless you feel it, will you? Anyway. What else, Spirit? Surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. And we also have surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And on the back of the deck, look what we have. Surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories you're telling yourself. Stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. Yep, absolutely. I love when the guidance validates what I'm channeling, because sometimes like I just have no clue what I'm saying or if it's like even accurate. And so yeah, the guidance, I will say, just chef's kiss. Okay, so now Spirit. Okay. This is a lot. How many cards are here? Okay, there's only 5. All right, we're taking them. Let's see what's on the back of the deck first. Give and receive love. Yes. Give love with a generous heart and receive love with an open heart. Yeah, that is what's going to make sharing worth it. All right, also, let's see. This first one. Heal. Allow yourself time to heal. Be kind to yourself right now. We also have empathize. Instead of judging or gossiping, empathize with this person. Try to see their point of view. Choose to only see through love. And if you can't empathize with someone, because honestly, empathy can also be draining, just have compassion. Compassion for the fact that you don't understand why they may do the things that they do, or why they may see the world the way that they do. But just know that, especially if it's a particularly dark or negative behavior, that there must be something dark or negative they're dealing with, and have compassion for the fact that you're not responsible for their healing or for what they choose to do. But, you know, you can have compassion for the fact that it must be hard to deal with that. And if that's how, and if whatever patterns of behavior they're exhibiting are the ways in which they cope with that, that's their choice. Doesn't mean you have to accept it towards you, but it just means you don't need to fully understand someone in order to have compassion for them, and you don't have to like truly empathize with them to like need to, for their perspective to be valid, if that's what I'm saying. you guys overthink. Like, this is my overthinking pile, and that's why I'm so comfortable in this, because, like, I understand overthinking as a Virgo moon. I understand overthinking. And overthinking is just something that, like, does not serve anyone. Like, your brain is a tool, and it is not meant to be something that uses you. You're meant to use your brain, not the other way around. We also have you're deserving. Accept the good, you deserve it. Reject the bad, you deserve more. Yeah, your theme, your word of the day is surrender. Surrender. Trust that the universe is working behind the scenes for you. Your manifestations will materialize when you truly surrender. Yes, I love that we're finishing off with this. Good vibrations. You're vibrating at a high level. Use this to your advantage. The law of attraction will work very effectively for you right now. Okay. Oh, so pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave your reading. Although I will say, if you have any questions for me or anything that you like are just curious about in terms of what I've channeled, I'm probably not going to remember channeling this. But if you just say, hey, I'm from pile 3 and I have a question and I see it, I will do my best to answer it. So if you have that, you know, feel free to comment those. And if not, I'm sure someone who is also a pile 3 may answer it too, because you guys also do a great job at answering one another's questions. But that is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me share these messages with you. Thank you for what you are going to share with the world. And thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways for you to support me and my channel and help me pay my bills, so thank you. But other ways to support me, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. If you have not checked out my new High Priestess candle, you very much should. It's in the intro if you didn't look at it, and be sure to use code ACE10 for 10% off. The links to all candles from Angelic Magic 888 are going to be 10% off as well. So you don't just have to be drawn to High Priestess candle. You can be drawn to any candles. Also, I have social media, but do beware of scammers pretending to be me. And I have merch. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for existing and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video. And I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. If you guys chose the Apophyllite and the Naked Heart Tarot, this is going to be your reading on how your spirit guides see you, what they see in you, and what you should also see too. So I make no promises as to what comes through, because some of these readings have been really focused on just like how your spirit guides see you, and others have been how your spirit guides want you to see things outside of you so that you can see yourself more clearly. So we're just gonna let them come through with whatever they want to say, because they know better than I do, and all I'm here to do is be their mouthpiece. Though they cannot control the SpongeBob references I make. That's 100% me. Anyway, thank you for being here. I don't know if I said that. My short-term memory, she's not great. But if I haven't, thank you for being here. I am just going to go ahead and start by shuffling your tarot. And I have some oracles pre-shuffled. And then we will just dive right in. So, Spirit Guides of Pile 4. How do you see Pile 4? Okay, we have the Ace of Cups. We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have Death. It's really interesting. I started thinking about the Hunger Games as I was like reading this, and like, I don't know, if you guys know the Hanging Tree song from the Hunger Games, like this card was making me think of that. And then Death came out and I was like, oh, that's kind of spooky. Anyway, let's keep going. What else? Spirit. Oh my god, yeah, because even President Snow, he's like associated with the white roses. Oh, that's like, woof, like that just gives me, so maybe that series is significant for you, but let's keep going. Pile 4 Spirit Guides, how do you see Pile 4? We have the Two of Cups. And one more. We have the Page of Pentacles. It's on the back of the deck is the Lovers, and I feel like that's significant. And I really, okay, messages about romance could be mentioned here, but that's not going to be the main theme of this topic, I don't think. So for your oracles, we're starting with 20, which is limitless. We have Akasha, your divine, your guidance is divinely guided. How's that word count? We have Advocate, inspires you to put compassion into action. We have Empowered, with it focusing on the heart chakra. The theme is empowered. The trigger statement is, I don't want to be here. And the true statement is, I am exactly where you need to be. You are ready to allow energy from the divine and Mother Earth to fuel you as you fulfill your potential here. And we have, I am passionate. So we have a lot of Scorpio energy. We have Scorpio on this I am passionate card, and we also have Scorpio on this death card, and some little bit of earth energy as well with Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. But you do not have to have any of those signs for this to be relevant. This is actually a really, really powerful message. And I see why the Hunger Games was coming through through this reading, because, you know, that whole story starts because the main character, Katniss, volunteers in place of her younger sister who she loves, you know, and it's that out of that love and that compassion for her sister to not have to want to deal with the fate of going to those games that she puts herself in that position. And if you have not seen the Hunger Games, like I'm going to talk about spoilers, but like it's been almost like 10 years, like come on. Like, you can't get mad at me for this. But, you know, it starts from just, you know, a girl wanting to save her sister from a terrible fate, and it turns into something much bigger than just her immediate intention. She ends up, without trying, becoming a symbol for rebellion and a symbol for revolution and a symbol of taking down the systems in place that caused her to make that decision to begin with. And I'm hearing something that says to never underestimate the power of your heart and the power of a decision that comes from your heart, because you never know how things could branch out. And the one thing that your guides want you to see is that, first of all, they want you to recognize that the only constant in life is change. And you may know that, but you still may hold yourself to unrealistic standards of what you think you should be, or hold on to attachments of how people used to see you or what people used to think of you. And that may cause you to kind of hide or judge yourself under the same circumstances. I'm actually going to read this Limitless card because I've been reading the cards for the other decks. And it's only fair if I do the same for you guys. I don't know if I did for pile 2 though. Sorry, pile 2. But let's just see what this says, because it might have some value, because I'm just getting a lot of Hunger Games stuff. So, don't conform to the beliefs of others. Live your own truth and share this with the world with love. Through this card, limiting beliefs and conformity are being addressed. It's so easy to get caught up in the material world with its illusionary expectations, false sense of security, and living our lives in what society deems as perfect societal bubbles. People get lost in the games and the falsity of their everyday monotonous existence. Living a life to the expectations of society is just as restricting as life in prison. There is only so much room you have available to move freely before the walls of the cell are felt. If you are drawn to this card, you are being asked to reflect on your life and the walls that inhibit you. These walls are made up of limiting beliefs that prevent you from following your heart and reaching your dreams. Limiting beliefs that stem from childhood, experiences, and expectations which keep you locked in an invisible cell. Dear one, do not let the limiting beliefs and expectations of yourself and others confine you. You were not born to be imprisoned. You were born to fly, sing your tune, and dance your dance. You were born to truly live and experience this life in all its blazing glory. Reach for the stars and follow your dreams. You have the strength and courage within you to break away from societal expectations and follow your own guidance and intuition. It is time to truly acknowledge the magnificent soul you are and break free from the binds that have held you back. You will be amazed by your own power and motivation. And the affirmation is, I am ready to create a life of my own choosing, and it associates itself with the lower chakras. Now, I have to go back to Hunger Games, and I promise I'll be done after this. But one of the important things is that at the very end of the book, which is another spoiler, Katniss is meant to execute President Snow, but instead executes the leader of the rebellion movement, because she realizes that despite them being on opposite sides, both leaders stand for the same thing. Like President Coin, the lady that Katniss ended up assassinating instead, she was just going to be a different flavor of President Snow. And I think one thing that you may be recognizing is how we as a society often mirror one another and think that the other is different just because the semantics are different. But underneath it, a lot of what we mirror to one another is one and the same. And I think the one thing that your guides want you to see is that the power of your heart and the wisdom of your heart is the wisdom that you can trust as you are guided through this world. What your guides want you to see is that while your mind is great and powerful, it has limits. And the heart has unlimited knowing that the linear mind cannot possibly understand. I feel like what your guides want you to know as well is that you may still see yourself as a past version of yourself and hold yourself to those standards and hold yourself to what you were. And I feel like what your guides want you to know is that you've evolved and transformed a lot, but as you live your life, you're going to continue doing that. And I think what's really interesting is that there's a lot of images of someone with their back faced to us. And I feel like what your guides are saying is that you need to turn your back on anything that makes you feel like you are trapped in an invisible prison, that you are trapped in ideas or certain thought forms. Because if anything, your transformation is helping you not only become more of who you need to be, but also just it's helping you realize that you're so much more than you think you are. And the fact that we have the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups, your guides also want you to know that your ability to connect with people is at its most powerful when you're communicating from the heart. And the opportunities that will be most meaningful for you are the ones that feel nourishing to your heart, or at the very least require a sense of meaning behind them. And with the Seven of Pentacles as well, I think I'm literally being called, I feel like your guides really want you to look at plants that grow in like time-lapsed format. So like, you know, it may take like months for a plant to fully bloom, but when you watch it under time lapse, it literally looks like magic. And because it really is magic, it's just through our perception that like, and you can explain that magic through like biology and science, which is wonderful. But the fact that it does that, the fact that it exists, just because you can explain it doesn't make it any less magical. It's incredible that we can grow and create things. But also, I love that this Death card really shows all the moon phases, because the one thing that your guides want you to see as well is that nothing is ever constant. And you might constantly be afraid of investing your energy in things because they might end or fail or change. And first of all, failure is a subjective definition in general. And I think one thing that your guides want you to see is that even things that are meant to endure without your lifetime, they will not remain the same, because you won't remain the same either. You'll be changing as well. And I think that if you have worries about opening your heart to like a romantic partner, or if you have worries about like relationships in general, like I don't want to open myself up to a relationship or something like that, I feel like one thing your guides are saying is that like hearts see through and feel through the superficial. And not only that, you cannot expect any relationship that you get into to remain exactly the same. Because here's the thing, like who you were when you were born, that still you is still there, but you've grown and changed and had beautiful and also hard experiences, and they've all made you who you are. And they're all going to continue to as you move through life and as you evolve and transform. And I feel like the one thing that your guides want you to see is that if you are if you are holding back in life because you are afraid of things not enduring, of things not lasting, your guides want you to see that nothing lasts forever anyway. and that the fear of losing something or the fear of something ending before you've even started it is not something that you should be concerning yourself with, because you're not even allowing life to happen at that point. You're just existing. When in reality, you have passion, you have compassion, that the universe is saying that you have the ability to do and create so many things that you're not even recognizing because you're placing limits on yourself. And I think that the universe, maybe for some time, has been calling you towards certain directions or certain opportunities or certain pathways. And maybe you've been afraid of them because you don't want things to end, or you don't want to lose them, or you don't want to be wrong. Well, there's no such thing as right or wrong, so they want you to see that you don't need to hold on to that. But also, if you feel like you've been pushed towards this path in life that has forced you to let go of identities that maybe you were comfortable with, or ways of being that you were comfortable with, and now you have to be more vulnerable, you have to be more open, or life is more uncertain, this is where you truly start living. Because for those of you who have been trying to live their life in a way where every action you take is with the expectation that you're able to control the outcome, that's one limit that you need to let go of, because that's an illusion. There are so many things in life we cannot control, but what we can control are our choices, what we feed our energy into, and what we allow ourselves to give our fucks to. If you haven't read The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, you might want to read that. It might be useful for you. But essentially, your guides want you to say that when your heart is behind whatever you are working towards, you will never regret it. And you will never regret how it turns out, because there is a deeper meaning to it than just, I'm doing this for the bag, or I'm doing this for likes, or I'm doing this because people will agree with me. Like, what you feel passionate about, what genuinely moves you and makes you feel like, what genuinely makes you want to get up and out of bed each morning, those are the things that are going to be worth putting your heart and soul into. Because one truth of life is that nothing is guaranteed, and that we can do amazing things in our lifetime and not have them recognized until after we're gone. Like, think about how many artists didn't really get the credit that they deserved until after they had passed on. Like, there are so many, and I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for you, but what I am saying is that you're denying yourself the ability to express, create, and explore. I saw. Praise the Lord, A$AP Rocky. That is in my head right now, so that could be a significant song. And that just totally got me off my train of thought. But I feel like what your guides are trying to tell you is that you do not have to be afraid that you will lose opportunities, or that the right things won't come to you. There's no such, I guess, let go of what the right thing is. Because what's right for you now may not be right for you in 2 years. What's right for you in 2 years may not be right for you right now. All you need to do is stay in touch with your heart and with your truth. Because, first of all, if you're doing things with the idea of just staying comfortable, life happens outside of your comfort zone, period. Not only that, but the seeds that you're planting now will reap fruits in the future that you can't even conceive of. And I feel like what your guides want you to know is that you have to let go of this idea that anything is going to be constant, and that anything is just always going to be exactly the same way. Because life is constantly changing, we're constantly changing, our bodies are constantly changing. Like, life is cyclical, and when we are in this material reality, we follow those cycles as well. And I feel like one thing that your guides want you to see is that it's so unfair to place limits on yourself or place value judgments on yourself, especially if they come from a place in your past where other people who didn't understand you are the ones to judge you by those standards in the first place. Or if you're valuing certain societal values that aren't very helpful. Like, if you're telling yourself, oh, I can't go after this thing because I'm not good enough for it, or I can't be in a relationship because I'm not fully healed, which, like, first of all, there's no such thing as being fully healed, and you don't need to be fully healed in order to be in a relationship. Relationships in of themselves can be very healing, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but friendships, and just even connecting with your family even more deeply. But I feel like you may be stopping yourself from engaging with life out of fear of losing, but you're already losing out on the opportunity to have anything happen because you're not following what you feel guided towards in the first place. You should have this idea of like, I am losing so long as I am not staying open to what opportunities could have for me, and I am staying attached to what I think is under my control, which is not in my control in the first place. Your heart has guidance for you that you can trust. And I feel like the octopus could be a very significant totem animal for you. But I also think with the Page of Pentacles, instead of seeing yourself as needing to have everything figured out, which like for some of you might resonate with pile 3 because this is kind of a message in pile 3, you might be holding yourself back thinking you know it, you need to know exactly where you're going to go before you get there. And see, that's the thing. Like, imagine if someone had told Katniss Everdeen that by volunteering for her sister, not only was she going to survive, but then she would also have to experience the deaths of many people that she loved. She would have to, including at the end of the book, her sister. Like, a lot of really awful things had to happen in order to eliminate an awful thing that already existed. However, the root underneath that were genuine, authentic desires for freedom and for less limits and for, you know, humans to be treated better. And, you know, that those books talk a lot about, I'm not here to give you an analysis on the Hunger Games. What I am here to say is that the characters in those books did not all dance and sing in the rain with sunshines and rainbows at the end of the story. Like, many characters lost their lives. And even at the very end of the story, Katniss is telling her children, like, I have nightmares and I will always have nightmares. And someday I'll tell you why I have those nightmares. And those nightmares came at the cost of her facing insurmountable challenges and experiencing traumas for a greater cause, and one that she probably didn't even choose, and she didn't really want to be involved in. She just wanted to protect her loved ones. But the circumstances outside of her caused her to have to step up. And she did. And even though she's a fictional character, you'd think, wow, no 16-year-old girl needs the weight of an entire country's problems and corruption placed on her shoulders. But also, it was those shoulders that freed an entire country and gave them a more democratic society. And obviously this is just a story, but the point is that what you're being led towards does not mean that the things the choices that you make and the decisions that you lead and the things like that, it doesn't mean that there won't be any pain, there won't be any suffering. Like, I feel like we have this idea sometimes that like, we just need this and then life will be perfect or life will be fine. And the thing is that life always has highs and lows. There will always be positives and negatives in every part of your life. And if you're not able to look at those positives, if you're not able to recognize the fact that to suffer is to be human and that there is suffering in most human things, and no matter how comfortable we seem to make life, we still find things to suffer about, or we still have things that, you know, we have to deal with. And then we realize, oh, this is just a very human thing and something that we constantly have to toil with. And it doesn't make it easier when we have trauma, when we have things that may never disappear. They may be a part of ourselves that we just kind of have to accept, but also recognize they don't have to dictate how we choose to live our lives moving forward. But it may take a lot of compassion on our parts and a lot of willingness to meet ourselves at those parts, care for ourselves when those parts need love, and to also recognize that your trauma is not you. It is the things that have happened to you, yes. And those things that have happened to you have changed you as a person, but everything will change you as a person. You don't leave this world a baby. You don't even, like, no matter how you come into this world, you are different when you leave. And the gift of growing and the gift of evolving is something that not everyone is given. And you're going to live many deaths in your life. The deaths of relationships, friendships, jobs, experiences, belief systems, groups. Like, you're going to experience lots of changes. But that's part of life. And I feel like your guides just want you to see that you're not meant to go your entire life. Like, the worst thing, the worst fate you could ever condemn yourself to is living a life of fear and living a life of being closed off, and then reaching the end of your life, if you're lucky to do so, and then asking, what if I had done this thing, or what if I had done that thing? What if I told that person how I truly feel? What if I'd done this sort of thing? I feel like what your guides want you to see is that you are disempowering yourself because you are not recognizing where your power lies. And I also think that they want you to understand that you are exactly where you need to be. Like I said, Katniss, she definitely did not want to be in any of the circumstances she was in, but she made the most of them and used them to her opportunity to protect her loved ones, and literally ended up dismantling a corrupt government. Definitely don't think she would have chosen any of that, but it happened. And she made the choices that she made that led to those outcomes. And she still has to live with the trauma of those choices that she made, even though like the outcome was peace and a peaceful era in that story and in that. Anyway, I just feel like you're thinking about this too hard, which is why I'm thinking about this too hard. And I feel like what your guides really want you to know is that you don't need it. There is no energy here that is thinking. There's no swords on the table. And I feel like if you're trying to think your way through life and strategize your way through life, because Scorpio can be strategic. Scorpio energy can be strategic. This is about feeling. This is about feeling your way through life and trusting. You know, that doesn't mean you let go all caution and don't rationally and critically think about anything. No, your mind is still important. But when it comes to your life journey and the experiences that will be meaningful to your soul, your conscious linear mind more often than not does not know what those things will be. It's often the urges of our heart that lead us forward. And I feel like with this Two of Cups here, there could be, maybe you feel called to be open to, like maybe you're feeling like, I want to be open to love again, or there's someone I want to be in a relationship with, or I want to be in a relationship, but I'm afraid to be vulnerable. And I feel like one thing that our society does that is really messed up is that we have this idea that just because a relationship ends, that means it's failed. And I don't think that's necessarily true. And that comes down to societal values, you know? If you value togetherness with someone, you know, hopefully they value that too. And I just feel like I don't know, I'm going down thought holes, and I feel like that's a lot of what you're doing, and that's keeping you trapped. And it's like, I do feel like there is a battle of mind and heart here. And I feel like there is this just, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to expose myself because, one, if I do get good things, then I'll just lose them anyway. And if I don't get good things, then they'll just reaffirm the beliefs I have of myself that I'm not good enough and I didn't deserve them anyway, so why should I try? That is, I wish I could give you a hug and tell you just how wrong you are. And I hope you don't have that perspective, but if you have had that perspective, you know, you hopefully know yourself just how unnecessary and unhelpful it is. You may be trying to suppress the feelings that your heart has, whether towards a person or towards a desire or towards a path in life that you don't quite understand, and you don't quite understand why, and it scares you, and it may require sacrifice on your part. Like, you may have to sacrifice the comfort of keeping everyone away from you. You may have to sacrifice the comfort of living in a place that speaks the language that you were brought up in, or that has similar cultural norms as to you. You might have to give up a sense of identity that you had for yourself that no longer serves you. And the people that still have that identity, you may have to deal with the fact that you and them may not see eye to eye anymore, or that you and them may not spend as much time as you once did. But I feel like what Spirit is really telling you is that the only thing that you really need to be is open and curious and willing to take risks. Because with this Page of Pentacles here, I feel like this is all about recognizing that one constant that you can have for yourself is being a student of life and a student of studying yourself. Because what you do when you allow yourself to follow the inner yearnings of your heart and your soul is you're giving yourself permission to live life to the fullest and to experience the breadth of emotion that comes with living fully. Because we have emotional highs and emotional lows, and we have peaceful times and we have stressful times. Like, things are always in a state of flux. The only constant truly is change. And I feel like what your guides want you to understand is that you're only cheating yourself by holding yourself back and not allowing yourself to be engaged with life out of fear of what could happen, out of fear of what might change, out of fear of uncertainty. But I feel like what you need to know is that there will never be a shortage of love for you from the universe, and there will never be a shortage of love for yourself so long as you are able to be aware of what's going on within you and give love to that, and also be willing to be vulnerable with others about what's going on, you know, and be willing to be vulnerable with your heart. Because not everyone will treat your heart the same. Not everyone will treat your heart with integrity. But what you need to know is that anyone who doesn't, they're not worthy of your heart. And it still may be painful. I'm saying I'm not saying that it's not, you know, to deal with heartbreak and things like that. It's never easy, but some of our greatest growth can happen through that. Some of our greatest works can come through that. Like, how many artists talk about how heartbreak has been the fuel for them to do something? And, you know, look on your past heartbreaks. They don't have to be relationships. Like I said, it could be, you know, being fired from a job, or something you really want not working out, or a dream that you thought you wanted, you get it in it, and you realize it's not what's going to make you happy. Like, heartbreak comes in many forms, and it's not just romantic love. But what I do know, and what you should know, is that whatever we face, we can use it to our own benefit or detriment. And I feel like what your guides want you to see is that you have all the power and all the resources to use it to your benefit. And your guides want you to know that the hardships you faced in life, unfortunately, are not, well, I guess fortunately and unfortunately, you're not the only one who's faced those hardships. You're not the only one who understands what heartbreak is. We all understand heartbreak in one way or another. And nobody leaves life unscathed. Nobody lives their life without some sort of suffering. If it's not physical suffering, it's likely mental or emotional or spiritual suffering. If it's like, we're always facing some sort of suffering. And it's about how we use that and how we look at that. Because ultimately, life is life. And we can have all these ideals about how we think it should be, or we wish it was a different way, but it just is what it is. And ultimately, our power lies in how we choose to deal with the cards we're dealt. You know, there are many things in life that are not your fault that happen to you, but it is still your responsibility in how you choose to respond to them. And it is your responsibility to also be kind to yourself when it comes to mistakes that you may make, because mistakes are our greatest opportunities for growth and learning. You know, I think one thing that your guides also want you to do is to forgive yourself and recognize that you deserve forgiveness for anything that you have said or done in your past that doesn't align with the truth of who you are now. You know, and if you have the opportunity to bring about reconciliation and healing with other people, you know, if you feel called to do that, your guides may be saying, like, now is the time, there's that green light. But really, ultimately, what your guides want you to see is, in the words of our Lord and Savior, Hannah Montana, life's what you make it, so let's make it rock. Period. Like, mic drop. And I know it might be silly for me to quote a song from a Soulless Corporation, but ultimately, the spirit of Hannah Montana lives in all of our hearts, including Miley Cyrus's, and she was right. She was right about that. Life is what you make it, so let's make it rock, okay? She didn't say life's what you make it, so let's sit about and talk about how much it sucks and, like, not do anything with our lives. Like, you have a lot of passion and a lot of creativity and a beautiful heart that is meant to share and receive with other hearts that align with you. And I think more than anything, I would really encourage you to look at the beautiful aspects of yourself that you have cultivated through your struggles, and take time to appreciate those and recognize that even through all your struggles, you're still here. And I think honestly, there are many struggles that you could actually be an advocate for, or show others that, you know, I have faced similar suffering and my choices have led me to this outcome, and this outcome has brought me more joy or more peace or more growth, and share that with others who need that, you know? I feel like what your guides want you to know is that you can do whatever you want with your life. You can do with whatever you feel is aligned with you. But I feel like if you were getting stuck in this egoic limbo of like, I need to do this, or I need to be accepted, or I need this car or this, that, which I'm not saying you are, but you might be equating your worth with what you have, or equating your worth with how people see you. And I feel like your guides want you to see that that is not where your worth truly lies. And if you have values that are around material things or around the way other people see you, you might want to take a look at yourself and recognize and look at how those values are limiting your ability to experience the full spectrum of the human experience in the present moment. Life is not meant to be lived once you have the car, or once you have the girl or guy, or once you have this or that. You know, you don't want to spend your whole life only suffering and only doing things that you feel you should do or have to do, and then look back and realize I spent my whole life working towards a fantasy that didn't exist and missed out on a reality that was full of a lot of blessings I couldn't see right in front of my face. And I feel like this is just about your ability to be open and your ability to allow yourself to receive kindness, to receive joy, to receive good things. Because I think this also comes down to self-worth and how much you allow yourself to receive things back. You know, I mean, I hate to keep coming back to the Hunger Games, but like, it really is coming back. Like, you know, Katniss herself doesn't understand why people are kind to her, or why people are, you know, risking their lives for her. And first of all, it's greater than her. What they were doing was greater than her, but she was very instrumental in it. But also a lot of people loved her, and she didn't understand that, which I think she did. I haven't read the series in a really long time, so like, give me some grace. But ultimately, you will never be able to truly see how much others love you and how much the universe loves you unless you allow yourself to be open and receive it. And even then, you'll probably only get a glimpse of it. You'll probably never truly understand how special you are to other people, how valuable you are to your guides, how much your guides love you, how much the universe loves you. But at the very least, you deserve to give yourself the opportunity to be open to it and receive it, because everybody deserves to feel it. And I feel like there's a lot of love within you that I feel like you want to share. And it's about sharing that with the right types of people, with the people that can meet you at your heart. But also, I feel like you just need to trust that the most worthwhile choices you'll make will resonate from a deeper place than just because I should, or because this will get me the thing, or because I will make more money. Like, what your value, like, I think values, especially values that will, I can't even talk right now, which maybe you've needed some of this stuff put into words, because you might be battling between what society says is valuable and what you feel is valuable, and you may not know where to put your energy or where to focus. And I think one thing that your guides really want you to value is connection, and the quality of your connections. The people in your life currently, how supported do you feel by them? Are your connections with them like mutually uplifting? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel drained? Where in your life could you use more connection, or where in your life could you use more connection just with you to yourself? It's really interesting because like, these messages are coming through quite scattered, and I feel like the only reason it's coming through very scattered is because you may be trying to interpret what the universe is guiding you to do through a logical lens that doesn't make sense to your linear brain. And I feel like instead, you're really just being asked to walk the walk and feel that path, and to take it one step at a time, as our Queen Jordan Sparks says. It's like, yeah, because what does she say? It take one step at a time, no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. It's just gonna happen, and it's supposed to happen, or something like that. I don't know, I can't remember all the lyrics. But I feel like Spirit is saying, you know, you don't need to wake up and find a spouse tomorrow. You just need to wake up tomorrow and do what honors yourself, and you might naturally be led to that person, or the pathway for you and a person that you're with will naturally unfold together. Like, I feel like really Spirit is really just asking you, instead of feeling like you need to figure everything out, just become comfortable with the fact that there's a whole lot you don't know, but trust in your ability to guide yourself there, and trust in the inner gut feelings and the inner tugs at your heart that just feel worth it. And they may feel scary as much as they feel worth it. But I would ask yourself, you know, if you're unsure of what decisions to make, ask yourself, will I regret it at the end of my life if I don't at the very least try for this thing? Will it be more painful for me to say no to the opportunity, or to say yes to say no to the opportunity and ask what if at the end of my life, or say yes to the opportunity and allow it to unfold, and then at least at the end you can say, I saw what happened, I know what happened. And I feel like you are assuming that things will be worse than they are, or that your outcomes will always be negative, and that's just not true. I think actually what you're going to find surprising is that there's much more love and support out there for you than you realize. And I feel like what your guides want you to see is that your life is not meant to be lived in your head. Your head is part of it, and the way you analyze it and see it is part of it, but that's not all of it. Like, I think right now what you need is presence in your material realm, where you are allowing yourself to be fully present, where you feel the sensations of what you're experiencing. You are in whatever you're experiencing. You're fully engaged and focused on it, and not allowing the past or the future to interfere with those present moments. Not only that, I feel like you are meant to feel into your experiences, not just the good ones, but the bad ones as well, because the bad ones tell us just as much as the good ones do. And when we try to suppress those emotions, they just stay buried in our psyche and in our bodies, and they come out eventually, or they stay stuck and cause us to lash out or take action or explode in ways because we're not expressing ourselves. A lot of what I think you're being guided to do is just flow with what is, instead of trying to come up with interpretations or try to understand fully what is happening. Hindsight is 20/20. So I really think like a lot of what you will understand, you're not meant to understand until you've moved through it. And so I feel like your guides are saying you're limitless. Stay open to the options that are available to you, and honor what has deeper meaning to you than just fickle things or egoic things. And I feel like if you're really struggling with the fact that you don't want to be here, or maybe you don't like the fact that you're opening to your heart, you don't like the fact that you're feeling the things, I feel like your guides are saying, well, you are feeling the things. And it benefits you to feel the things. You're here for a reason. So what can you do to honor that and be kind to yourself? And what can you do to accept that so you can be open to what is, instead of spending your energy being frustrated at what isn't or what you can't control? Ultimately, I feel like Spirit is saying you're powerful, you're passionate, and your heart is going to lead you to greener pastures, is what I'm hearing, and experiences and people beyond what you can consciously conceive or imagine. What it really takes on your part is patience and the ability to trust life as it unfolds, and trust in your ability to make choices that honor you and honor your deeper truths. Ultimately, your guides want you to see that you're worthy of living life, and you're worthy of all of the experiences, and you are worthy of especially the good experiences. And not only that, but what you're not worthy of is living your life in your head and from a distance, and never truly experiencing it, and not realizing that till the end of your life, because that would suck, and that's not fair to yourself. And there are many people that do experience that, and Spirit is trying to wake you up a little bit and be like, hey, you can do so much more than you think you can. Like, if I would look up I don't know if you've ever seen articles about like what people say at the end of their lives, but what regrets that they have or what they wish they would have done. And it's never I wish I would have made more money, or I wish I would have gotten that Porsche. It's most often, I wish I would have cared less what people thought of me, or I wish I would have followed what I was truly passionate about, or I wish I wouldn't have, I wish I would have taken more risks, or I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. So I feel like your spirit is really asking you to be your own best advocate, and be your own best advocate for your heart and your heart's deeper desires, and let go of the idea of being realistic, because being realistic is not rooted in reality in the first place. Like, what's realistic is subjective to each person, and there are many people that are suppressing their heart's deeper desires and what they truly want in life, either because they've made decisions that they're now pigeonholed in and so they can't be realistic, or they feel like what their dreams and desires aren't worth it, that they had to be realistic and let go of those, and so they're just encouraging you to do the same because that's what they had to do. They're just coming from their own experience. It's not good or bad, it just is what it is. And I feel like for you, God, life is a highway and spirit wants you to ride it all night long. All right, I'm cutting spirit off there before we get more rascal flats. But is that rascal flats? I think so. I don't know. but it just makes me think of the movie Cars. So, which Lightning McQueen also very much makes sense for all of this, because, you know, he was very focused on being the best racer possible, and he was tired of having Rusty's as a sponsor, and he was just really focused on beating Chick Hicks and, you know, being the best racer in all his ka-chow. And some of his greatest lessons were learned in Radiator Springs, and some of his greatest friendships were there too. Sometimes we have to allow our egos to die so that we can see what truly matters. Like, imagine if Lightning McQueen never met Tow Mater. Bro, I don't even want to conceive of that. Anyway, we're gonna get some channel messages from your spirit guides now, because I've tortured you with enough pop culture references for one reading. Anyway, Pile 4 spirit guides, what would you like Pile 4 to know at this time? It's time for you to be uniquely and proudly yourself, regardless of any perceived societal standards or norms. Don't try to squeeze yourself into a box that doesn't fit your outline. Be you. And you are absorbing energies that are not solely yours. Your body, mind, and spirit is in need of a detox and cleansing of the dense energies. As an empath, you are highly sensitive. So yeah, I would pay attention to what you pick up on that isn't yours, especially if you live in a house of like other people. You might take on their energy and emotions without realizing it. Okay, but we also have, you are meant to be a teacher and a leader. You have something valuable to share. Whatever inspiration is running through you, there is something in it that others need to hear. Share your voice. And what's really interesting is that I feel like those are the most valuable connections you're going to have. People that you learn from, and the people that you teach, like, and the people that share your values, like, those are going to be some really special connections that you make. And we also have heal and balance your heart chakra at this time. If you are experiencing challenges in love, know that the connections that are no longer meant to be in your life are falling away. Trust this. And on the back of the deck, we have balance and open your crown chakra. You're being asked to connect more deeply to universal consciousness and all that is, and remember that everything is one. All that you will ever need is already inside of you. Yes, and I feel like Spirit is already saying, like, we have been communicating with you and you can trust what you're getting, which I just cut the deck, and we have believe in the impossible and for a while indulge in a fantasy or two of yours, and remember what it feels like to hold space for innocence and blind faith. Make a wish, you may be surprised. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, we're going to move on now and look at what you should surrender at this time, which I did just see surrender attachment to results. So even if it doesn't come out, I do think you do need to surrender your attachment to results. But Pile 4, Spirit, what should they surrender at this time? Surrender resentment. Holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings and keep moving forward towards positive situations in your life. What else should Pile 4 surrender? Surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. We also have surrender to non-action. Now is the time to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power. Let others come to you. And I definitely feel like this is something as well, like where, you know, if you feel like you need to take action, but it's not rooted in anything deeper than just the need to be productive or the feel like you should be doing something, I feel like you will hear the true desires of your soul and your heart when you give yourself that stillness and that silence. Beautiful. But we also have surrender to complete healing. I can't wait to show you the back of the deck, but open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. And on the back of the deck, we have surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen and then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. But we are going to finish off by just getting some positive guidance for you moving forward. So, Pile 4 spirit guides, what do you want Pile 4 to know moving forward? What guidance do you have for them? Wealth. Money is on its way to you. Think thoughts of abundance. Yeah, and see, here's the thing. I'm not saying that, like, money doesn't buy happiness or anything like that. Like, you know, money is definitely necessary in order to survive and things like that. But it can only satisfy you to a degree. And then after that, like, if you don't have anything deeper that's anchoring you to reality, it's not going to help much. Like, it can help you a lot when your survival needs need to be met. But, like, once you reach a certain threshold, I don't know what the exact number is, but, like, after that, it doesn't really have as much of a margin on happiness. But I feel like what Spirit wants you to know is that if you're really focused on, I feel like you might be so focused on achieving wealth or achieving, like, certain things that you're missing out on so many parts of life, and what you're missing out on is exactly what will lead you to this wealth in the first place. I feel like you'll see that for yourself, but it might not make sense to your linear mind. What else, Spirit? Okay, we have 2. We have don't sweat the small stuff. Don't waste your precious energy worrying about small things. Refocus your thoughts towards love, abundance, and tranquility. And we also have unwavering faith. It's comforting to know we can lean on a power higher than us and that your desires and needs are being taken care of. And on the back of the deck, we have focus. Remain completely focused on exactly what you want. The best is yet to come. So Pile 4, I hope that made sense. That was a very jumbled one, and yeah, I just hope it was the messages you needed to hear, but that is where I'm going to leave this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me so that I can support you. So thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, liking this video if you enjoyed it is incredibly helpful. Commenting down below, letting me know how it resonates is helpful. Subscribing if you haven't already is wonderful, and be sure to click that little bell notification to be part of my notification squad. Shout out to my notification squad. I love you guys. And if you want me to see your comment, I will most usually see comments when I first upload, so be aware of that. Also, be sure to check out my candles and use code ASO10 for 10% off on this candle or any other candles on Angelic Magic 888 site. You can also check out my merch, which is linked below, as well as my social media, though do beware of scammers pretending to be me. They are rampant and rife. But that is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!